Realitas itu adalah apa adanya. Tetapi persepsi, belief system itu bukan apa adanya, tapi apa akunya. Jadi kalau kita melihat atau menilai sesuai dengan akunya, penilaian kita akan terlimitasi. Bertumbuhnya kualitas diri kita tergantung bagaimana kita menumbuhkan cara berpikir kita, bagaimana kita mengupgrade belief system kita, dan bagaimana kita selalu melihat realitas secara objektif. Belajar melihat seapa adanya, belajar untuk tidak cepat menilai, belajar untuk hening sesaat, karena dalam hening, dalam mindfulness, kita bisa membangkitkan kesadaran yang akan meningkatkan kualitas kehidupan kita. Terima kasih.
Welcome to the C Morning Show. We hope you are well this midweek. Always a pleasure for me and my colleagues to be part of your morning as you start your day. As always, we have headlines from the region and around the world, and including our favorite discussion or segment, that is Book Talk. Yes, yes, yes. We are going to learn a Greek concept that will be very useful as we navigate our lives. Yes, it is called arete, which could mean excellence, fulfillment, or virtue. So today we will speak with the writer of the book Ompas, Henry Manampiring, on this useful concept. I'm Marissa Anita, and I'm here with my wonderful colleagues Indra and Paul. Good morning, fellas.
Good morning, Marissa. Good morning, Indra. And good morning to all of our viewers out there. Just past 6 in the a.m., bright and early. We hope you're having a wonderful morning so far. As always, we have got all the latest from Indonesia and around the world, including the latest in regards to the ongoing conflict in Gaza. We have some of the latest updates regarding election news. Yes, it's coming up on February the 14th. We have Indonesia Votes 2024 coming up a little bit later on as well, along with your daily sports, entertainment, and business roundup. Speaking of business, glad we have Indra here today for that. But before we get to him, make sure you're connected with us on our social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, X, and YouTube at C Today News. Good morning, Indra.
Hey, good morning. Thanks, Paul. Yes, and I'm your host, Indra Marpaung, and would like to greet our viewers that are now able to tune in from Foxtel Flash Australia, Macau Cable TV for Channel 84, Vision Philippines Channel 58, Air Cable Philippines, and Singtel Singapore at Channel 15, and StarHub Channel 720. All right, let's start the show with our headlines.
Yes, dozens of diplomats, including the Indonesian foreign minister, walked out yesterday of a UN Security Council meeting in protest of Israel's atrocities in Gaza as the Israeli ambassador began his speech.
A truck carrying 60 tons of liquefied natural gas and a car collided at an intersection in the Mongolian capital, causing a massive fireball and a series of explosions that has killed 3 firefighters and injured 11.
Mounds of garbage pile up along the Sipons River in Sipondo, Tangerang City, Banten, due to the lack of attention from the local government.
And the AFC Asian Cup, Japan beat Indonesia 3-1 in their final Asian Cup Group D game Wednesday. Okay, we will start our first top story, of course, from the United States. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres addressed the Security Council during a high-level meeting Tuesday. He said that no effective humanitarian aid operation can function under the conditions imposed on the Palestinians in Gaza. The quantity of aid is highly insufficient to meet the needs.
The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged all parties to step back from the brink and to consider the horrendous human cost of a regional conflict. Guterres stressed that beyond the need for immediate de-escalation, each situation requires the implementation of a clear political roadmap that would contribute to long-term regional stability.
Meanwhile, French Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné, who presided the meeting of the UN Security Council, said that there must be a Palestinian state. He added that violence towards the Palestinian people, particularly committed by extremist settlers, must end and that international law applies to everyone.
Effective humanitarian aid operation can function under the conditions that have been forced on Palestinians in Gaza and those doing everything possible to help them. The quantity of aid is highly insufficient in light of needs. It is fantasy to think that 2.2 million people can survive on aid alone. Basic commodities from the private sector must enter in meaningful quantities, as they did for many years before the current fighting. This is essential to address rising needs and avert both a complete breakdown and ever-mounting death toll. I urge all parties to step back from the brink and to consider the horrendous human cost of a regional conflict. Beyond the need for immediate de-escalation, each situation demands the implementation of a clear political roadmap that would contribute to long-term regional stability.
Je dois dire à Israël, qui connaît l'amitié du peuple français, qu'il faut un État palestinien. Que les violences envers le peuple palestinien, notamment celles des colons extrémistes, doivent cesser et que le droit international s'impose à tous. Je dois dire aux représentants palestiniens qui connaissent l'engagement historique de la France en faveur d'un État palestinien que nous continuerons à lutter contre le terrorisme avec fermeté et détermination, qu'il ne peut y avoir d'ambiguïté sur le droit d'Israël à vivre en paix et en sécurité et à exercer son droit à la légitime défense face au terrorisme.
Yes, regarding this, CNN reports that the International Committee of the Red Cross issued a stark warning as well on Thursday, saying that Gaza faces a complete medical shutdown unless immediate actions are taken to safeguard essential services. ICRC said that the Nasser Medical Complex and the European Gaza Hospital, both in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis, are the only referral hospital that provide advanced surgical and medical emergency services with large bed capacities, which is not sufficient for the current wounded and sick across Gaza. And according to the ICRC, over 1.5 million people living in dire conditions in the south of Gaza. William Schomburg, the head of the ICRC's office in Gaza, said every functioning hospital in Gaza Strip is overcrowded and short on medical supplies, fuel, food, and water. Many are housing thousands of displaced families, and now 2 more facilities risk being lost due to the fighting. He said the cumulative impact on the health system is devastating and urgent action must be taken. And meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces have insisted that Hamas systematically operates in Gaza hospitals and adjacent areas, using the residents as human shields. They claim the IDF said Wednesday that it will continue to operate in Khan Yunis for several days.
It's hard to imagine how much longer this can last. Meanwhile, in somewhat related news, the Indonesian Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson has confirmed that the Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi did not leave the room during a speech delivered by Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan at the United Nations Security Council meeting.
Yes, according to a clarification by the Indonesian Permanent Mission to the UN, Ambassador Gilad Erdan was not present in the room, while Indonesia and a number of member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC, were expressing their positions on the Israeli-Palestinian crisis open debate. Conversely, Indonesia and the OIC member states were not present in the room when Ambassador Gilad Erdan commenced his speech.
A video broadcast by Western media shows numerous diplomats, including Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi, who were protesting against Israel action in Gaza, walking out of the UN Security Council meeting as Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan began his speech on January 23rd.
The UN Security Council comprises of 10 member countries, with 5 of them holding permanent membership and veto power, capable of overturning any resolution that is attempted by the Security Council. The 5 countries with veto rights are the United States, Great Britain, France, Russia, and China.
At least 5 were killed when an Israeli strike hit a mosque in Rafah, South Gaza on Wednesday.
The dead and injured were taken to the nearby Abu Yusuf al-Najjar hospital to be counted.
AP footage shows the extent of the destruction as buildings were partially demolished or completely flattened. Another footage showed the chaotic aftermath in the hospital where people rushed to carry the dead and wounded. One such individual who were caught up in the chaos after surviving the attack was Muhammad Laft.
According to the Hamas-run health ministry, Israeli strikes have killed over 25,700 Palestinians in Gaza.
احنا كنا في الدار قاعدين، المسجد جنب الدار مباشرة. ضربوا المسجد من غير لا سابق انذار أي حاجة ولا شيء، ما لقينا إلا الحجار فوق راسنا. كله حجار ورا بعض، الدار كلها انهدت فوق راسنا. هاي مرت وابني اللي قبل شوي، غرزوا فيه قاعدين، أولادي جوا كلهم مصابين مكسرين.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan met his Iranian counterpart Ibrahim Raisi on Wednesday. Erdogan highlighted the necessity of ending Israel's inhumane attacks on Gaza.
Turkey and Iran also agree about the importance of taking urgent steps for the establishment of a just and lasting peace.
During the visit, both leaders observed the signing of 10 cooperation agreements. Erdogan said that Turkey will continue to support Iran's fight against terrorism and boost cooperation against the PKK or the Kurdistan Workers' Party. Turkey considers the group as terrorists with a string of bases in northern Iraq. Furthermore, Turkey also considers Syrian-based Kurdish groups such as the YPG and PYD as PKK affiliates.
Görüşmelerimizde İsrail'in Gazze'ye yönelik insanlık dışı saldırılarının bir an önce son bulması, adil ve kalıcı barışın tesisine yönelik ivedi adımlar atılması ihtiyacını ele aldık. Türkiye'nin terörle mücadelede İran'ın yanında olduğunu tekrar ifade etmek istiyorum. Komşumuz İran'la ilişkilerimizi karşılıklı güven ve müşterek menfaatler temelinde derinleştirmeye önem veriyoruz. Görüşmelerimizde bu iradeyi bir kez daha teyit ettik.
All right, in other news, we shift our focus to Indonesia as a fire broke out at the Pulau Gadung Jiep industrial area in Cakung, East Jakarta on Wednesday.
6 furniture stores, which were also used for accommodation, burnt down.
Authorities experienced difficulty extinguishing the fire. The fire started when a stove exploded in one of the houses which had been left unattended while cooking.
12 fire trucks from the East Jakarta Fire Department were deployed to extinguish the fire. The case is currently under investigation by the Cakung Sector Police.
Yes, lack of attention from the local government has caused mounds of garbage piling up along the Sipon River in Cipondoh, Tangerang City, Banten.
Mounds of garbage are seen for dozens of meters along the Sipon River. In addition to household waste, the river is also filled with plastic waste, wood, as well as garbage from Sipon Market.
The garbage has been piling up since the last 2 weeks due to the lack of service from the Tangerang City Public Works and Spatial Planning.
Aside from the foul odor being unhealthy for the locals, the garbage will surely flood the surrounding homes when rain comes. The sea of trash is originated from the sellers at Sipon Market, as well as locals who have thrown away their garbage in the river.
Memang agak sedikit berbeda penanganannya, tapi dalam konteks pengangkatan sampah kita masih rutin melakukan pengangkatan sampah. Yang jadi masalah adalah perilaku dari masyarakat ataupun pedagang sekitar area Pasar Sipon. Kita sudah berkomunikasi dengan masyarakat maupun dengan pedagang untuk tidak melakukan pembuangan sampah secara sembarang di area Pasar Sipon yang dampaknya itu sangat berpengaruh terhadap penanganan genangan maupun banjir di wilayah Kota Tangerang.
We're up for our first short break, but we have news from Raw Indonesia when we come back only on the C Morning Show.
All right, guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine.
Mount Anak Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking that to meet the needs of the 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. You can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on the smash. I'm horrible. I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulisnya.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depotsi.
Ya, aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh.
Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain.
Group of volunteers operating in south of the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Asian flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. Personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different when baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng place for restaurant.
Back with us on the Morning Show. Time for some headlines coming from the country. Indonesia. Dozens of women protested and thus stormed the PT Chandra Asri Pacific office paper factory in Gunung Sugi subdistrict Cilegon, Banten, Wednesday morning.
They were protesting the strong odor that was emitting from a gas leak that had been polluting the air over the past couple of days.
These women were protesting while throwing mineral water bottle at the factory as they felt upset after entering with stench from the gas leak, causing them to experience nausea and headache.
Ke Gunung Sugi baru kali ini.
Kenapa Bu?
Ada terjadinya ledakan kimia di Chandra Asri. Ya sosialisasi masuk ke masyarakatnya, ada dispensasi ke masyarakatnya. Ya pokoknya terbaik lah buat masyarakat yang terdekat di sini seperti apa. Dari pihak Chandra Asri kita mohonkan dari masyarakat seperti itu. Semua pihak Gunung Sugi atau di wilayah sekitarnya. Kerja juga bukan orang sini, bukan masyarakat sini. Hanya sekian persen saja dari pihak Gunung Sugi. Tolong itu dari pihak Chandra Asri.
The alleged gas leak has caused around 360 locals to suffer from nausea and vomiting, with 3 of them have to receive intensive medical care at the hospital. In the meantime, following the incident, PT Chandra Asri Management decided to suspend the operational activities while waiting on the lab result regarding the gas leak. On Monday, a team from Environment and Forestry Ministry inspected the incident site to investigate alleged gas leaking from the factory's chimney pipe.
Tadi kita memverifikasi bagaimana perusahaan melakukan penanggulangan terkait dengan kebocoran tersebut seperti itu. Dan di lapangan kita melihat sudah dilakukan perbaikan ya dan penutupan dari pipa yang bocor tersebut.
Meanwhile, Cilegon and Bans have examined 17 witnesses, with 10 of them were locals, while the other 7 were factory workers. See Today contributor reporting from Banten.
Social media activists and other communities in the Medan, North Sumatra team up to clean up the Medan Zoo. They also donated to the zoo staffs and animals following the case of the death of 3 tigers, unmaintained animal cage and unpaid staff salaries.
Hundreds of social media activists and several communities from Medan gathered at Medan Zoo in Delhi Serdang Regency, North Sumatra. They team up to clean up the zoo in response to the conditions of Medan Zoo that has been neglected. They prepared equipment and started to clean up the area of the zoo one by one, such as cutting grass, cleaning up public facilities and animal cages that were covered with overgrown grass.
Kita sebenarnya prihatin sih Bang gitu, karena kan terakhir kunjung ke sini itu kan sebelum Covid tuh gitu kan. Setelah kita baru kunjungan lagi setelah Covid ini, kita lihat udah sampai pengunjung terus banyak yang nggak keurus gitu kan. Jadi kayak kita prihatin lah, pengen ini tuh aktif lagi gitu. Sementara dari Pemko sendiri ini akan ditutup gitu. Semoga kita sebagai anak muda lebih antusias dalam kegiatan seperti ini, karena kalau nggak kita anak muda yang mulai merawat ini semua siapa lagi gitu, siapa yang peduli gitu.
Not only that, the activists donated to help the Medan Zoo financially. They managed to collect 82 million rupiahs. The donation was handed over to the Medan Zoo to help the employees and animal needs.
Yang paling menggugah hati teman-teman dari influencer Medan ini, sebenarnya kegiatan ini saya udah bolak-balik bilang kita sudah mau laksanakan dari awal tahun, bahkan akhir tahun ya di Desember kita udah mau, ketika kita mendengarkan ada kabar dari media yang kondisi Medan Zoo ini sudah sangat-sangat menyedihkan, bahkan ada kabar satwa yang mati. Kita juga rajin ngelihat akun Instagramnya Wildlife Sumatera ya, itu kita lihat sepertinya kayaknya kita butuh bergerak nih. Kita menunda bergerak gara-gara kita berpikir udah viral. Ketika udah viral ya berarti mungkin harusnya ada tindakan. Tapi ketika akhir tahun itu di Januari masih belum ada, akhirnya kita memutuskan tergugah semuanya. Kita ini tergabung dalam sebuah grup namanya Influencer Medan Support, yang dalam kontennya itu memang kita adalah saling support untuk bersama-sama. Dan akhirnya kita memutuskan bersama-sama untuk coba visit dulu. Ketika melihat situasinya ternyata cukup parah, akhirnya kita putuskan kita bergerak.
In the future, the social media activists hope that the Medan Zoo can revive after its revitalization. They also hope that the zoo will not forget its original role in protecting the animals. See Today contributor reporting from Medan, North Sumatra.
The Indonesian Planet Urgency Foundation and local residents teamed up to plant thousands of mangrove trees in Pandeglang Regency, Banten on Wednesday.
And this was done to prevent abrasion and mitigate tsunamis along the coastline.
The Regency of Pandeglang was affected by a tsunami that claims hundreds of lives in 2018. In order to anticipate such a disaster from taking place again, the Indonesian Planet Urgency Foundation work with local residents to plant mangrove trees along the shoreline of Ciseket village in Panimbang Subdistrict Pandeglang, Banten. Aside from mitigating tsunami, the mangrove trees were also planted to combat abrasion and the marine ecosystem.
Nah, di desa Ciseket ini kami melakukan penanaman tahun 2022 sekitar 60.000. Ini kalau tanamannya sudah berumur hampir 1 tahun dan survival rate-nya sekitar 68%. Fungsi mangrove itu bagi masyarakat terutama selain dia juga melindungi area pesisir dari tsunami dan abrasi, dia juga merupakan tempat hidup bagi hewan-hewan laut seperti bayi-bayi ikan, bayi-bayi udang, dan juga yang lainnya. Sehingga fungsinya bukan hanya proteksi masyarakat, tapi juga penting bagi penghidupan masyarakat lokal. Dari sisi global, mangrove ini sangat penting bagi perubahan iklim.
Volunteers from the Indonesian Planet Urgency Foundation are planning to plant 116,000 mangrove trees across the Pandeglang shoreline. C2D contributor reporting from Pandeglang, Banten.
Let's have a quick look now at the updates regarding the upcoming Indonesian general election on Indonesia Votes 2024.
During his campaign trail, Vice Presidential candidate Gibran Raka Buming Raka visited Al-Kahfi Somolangu Islamic Boarding School in Kebumen, Central Java, Wednesday.
And during his visit, Gibran said that he, along with presidential candidate Prabowo Subianto, have a program to improve the welfare of Islamic boarding schools along with its students.
Vice Presidential Gibran said that santris or religious students are generally adept in reciting the Quran and have good morals. However, Gibran wants the santris to be more than that. They can be better should they master the Sharia economy, Sharia banking, technology development, and cybersecurity.
Gibran also said that Indonesia currently has a demographic bonus. That means there's a lot of young citizens in their productive age. Gibran thus invited families of pesantren or religious schools in Indonesia to make the most of this opportunity so that Indonesia can reach the golden era in 2045.
Jadi harapannya ke depan itu santri-santri benar-benar bisa menghadapi tantangan zaman dan benar-benar bisa memenuhi kebutuhan industri. Jadi pintar ngaji, berakhlak baik, tapi juga benar-benar nanti bisa menjadi bagian untuk menuju Indonesia emas.
Indonesian Vice Presidential candidate number 3 Mahfud MD announced his plan to resign from the cabinet during a discussion called Tabrak Prof held in Semarang, Central Java on Tuesday.
Yes, the vice presidential candidate said that he was still waiting for the right time to step down from his position as coordinating minister for political, legal, and security affairs.
Meanwhile, presidential candidate Ganjar Pranowo also commented on Mahfud's resignation as minister during his political campaign in Kendal, Central Java.
Itulah yang sejak awal kita bicara apakah seorang yang sekarang menjabat di dalam jabatan publik, apalagi selevel menteri itu mundur atau tidak. Gubernur, bupati, wali kota mundur atau tidak. Semua di jabatan publik. Ketika keputusannya tidak dan diperbolehkan, maka ada potensi konflik of interest. Kami berdiskusi juga dengan Pak Mahfud pada soal ini. Itu ada potensinya loh, gitu. Kita mesti hati-hati. Mampu nggak kita menjaga diri kita untuk bisa netral dan tidak menggunakan fasilitas, itu aja. Nah, dengan beberapa kejadian, orang menggunakan fasilitas, menggunakan alat transportasi, alasannya kunjungan kerja, tapi di sana kampanye, kan rakyat bisa melihat itu. Maka kita sedang mengambil risiko itu. Maka saya sarankan, mundurlah. Rubahlah aturan. Gitu. Termasuk Pak Mahfud. Termasuk Pak Mahfud. Jadi kita sudah diskusi dengan Pak beliau pada soal ini. Agar fair, lebih baik mundurlah. Kalau aturannya mau dibuat, lebih bagus. Pasti rakyat akan lebih senang. Karena nanti tidak ada yang mengklaim apakah ini bansosnya milik kementerian, apakah berasnya itu milik kementerian, kan nggak bisa lagi. Semua orang akan merasa fair.
Meanwhile, presidential candidate number 1 Anies Baswedan and his running mate Muhaimin Iskandar have no campaign agenda for yesterday. Hundreds of campaign materials of legislative candidates that violate the regulation were removed by the election supervisory agency in Ternate, North Maluku. The campaign materials endangered pedestrians and vehicles.
The Election Supervisory Agency or Bawaslu personnel took down campaign materials of legislative candidates from various political parties that were placed in an unauthorized area on Wednesday. The props were placed on sidewalks, utility poles, and a number of trees on the roadside. These campaign materials were considered to endanger road users such as pedestrians and vehicles. The crackdown took place simultaneously with Bawaslu focusing on the city's main road. This was done after political parties and legislative candidates ignored Bawaslu's warning to take down the campaign materials themselves that were installed in unauthorized areas. Bawaslu will coordinate with related agencies to curb the political props throughout Ternate. Meanwhile, on the same day, campaign materials along Jalan Margonda Raya in Depok, West Java, were taken down by a joint personnel, namely Bawaslu and the Depok Public Order Agency. The curbing of the campaign materials was done due to violation and endangering road users.
Terkait dengan APK, tentu tindakan yang paling dari kami adalah menertibkan kembali. Tentu himbauan terus kita lakukan kepada peserta pemilu untuk tidak melakukan pelanggaran pemasangan APK. Yang pertama tentu yang membahayakan, alat peraga kampanye membahayakan. Yang kedua yang melanggar aturan kampanye kita, yakni sepanjang Jalan Margonda.
Kalau untuk bendera partai apakah akan ditertibkan?
Bendera partai itu masuk dalam kategori bukan APK.
The Depok Bawaslu will also curb campaign materials in a number of protocol roads in Depok, such as Jalan Raya Arif Rahman Hakim and Jalan Raya Juanda. See Today contributor reporting from North Maluku and West Java.
That wraps up the headlines from the general election of Indonesia, or leading up to our general election in February. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, my colleague Paul will bring the highlights from the world of sports. What are they, Paul?
Well, I may not know who I'm going to vote for yet for president, but I do know who I'm going to vote for the NBA All-Stars. All-Star Weekend is coming up, but before that, we do have some action to cover that has been taking place. It is rival week in the NBA. We also have some unfortunate news for Team Indonesia in the AFC Asian Cup, as they had been defeated by Japan last night. We're going to cover some of the latest news from there, as well as from the some badminton news. That's all that is coming up next, and more on your sports morning update. Stay tuned for that.
The beauty and the excitement of being there, indescribable to lose such an iconic, historical, and magnificent.
Let's take a look around, shall we? Come on in. We found them.
Where people come and go. A cup of tea, a perfect way to end your day. Come see the beauty, only on See Indonesia.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. Like, you can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh, I love this atmosphere. Woo! Heading to Gili Trawangan. And this special episode, I already prepared myself for an adventure on the island, which in the top of the list to visit. And this is the travel note, because life is dope.
Existence is now being critically endangered.
dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
All right, guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine.
Mount Anak Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking that to meet the needs of the 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on the smash. I'm horrible. I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulisnya.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
At the Senayan Sports Complex in Jakarta on Tuesday. Mian Toro and Setia Ningrum, who are currently ranked 43rd in the world, are advancing to the round of 16 to face Danish pair Maiken Furgaard and Sara Tigsen. The Scandinavian pair defeated their Chinese Taipei counterparts Chang Chin Hui and Yang Ching Tun to earn a spot in the top 16. Meanwhile, two other Indonesian men's doubles pairs also have secured their spots in the round of 16. Muhammad Shohibul Fikri and Bagas Maulana are on to the next round after defeating Chinese shuttlers Chen Boyang and Liu Yi 21-16, 17-21, and 21-17 in a rubber game. In addition, Sabar Karyaman Gutama and Muhammad Reza Pahlevi Isfahani defeated South Korean pair Kim Won-ho and Na Sung-seung 13-21, 21-19, and 21-16 in the rubber game. More badminton updates for you as on Sunday, Indonesian shuttler Andi Fadel Muhammad finished as runner-up at the International Badminton Championship Victor Swedish Open 2024 in Uppsala.
The Championship Victor Swedish Open 2024 in Uppsala, Sweden, is a yearly prestigious international competition where athletes representing clubs from around the world compete against each other. Andi Fadel from Indonesia entered the competition after he was recruited by a Swedish badminton club, Furious Fjorden, and Andi Fadel made it to the final against Pablo Fabian from Spain, succeeded as the second winner. Although Fadel only won second place after a tough match with Pablo Fabian, an international badminton athlete, Olympic-level player from Spain, still, the results were very encouraging, with a tight score of 21 against 23.
All right, let's move on now from badminton to some football updates from the AFC Asian Cup, where Japan defeated Indonesia 3-1 in their final Asian Cup Group D match on Wednesday to guarantee themselves a top 2 finish and also qualify for the last 16. Meanwhile, Iraq went onto the top of the group with maximum points as they sealed a 3-2 victory over Vietnam with a 102nd minute winner. Japan's Ayase Ueda scored twice for Hajime Moriyasu's side, who finished second with 6 points. Japan took a 1-0 lead through a penalty by Ueda in the 2nd minute of the match, and they eventually doubled their lead when Ueda was found unmarked at the far post for an easy tap-in. The goal put a spring in Japan's step, and Ueda forced an own goal in the 88th minute after Justin Hubner attempted to block his shot. Indonesia did score a consolation goal in stoppage time from Sandy Walsh, where he put in a smart finish to mark his first international goal. With the 4 best performing third-place teams also advancing, Indonesia are currently headed for a maiden appearance in the last 16, yet they will only be able to breathe easy come the end of Thursday. Groups E and F will conclude then, And as things stand, the Indonesians are in a precarious position in 4th spot in the 3rd place team rankings. As long as both groups do not produce a 3rd-placed side with a superior record, Indonesia will be through, and that in itself would be an achievement. So first up for Japan, they might possibly be headed for a showdown with South Korea. They will be facing the winners of Group E, which is South Korea's group. Jurgen Klinsmann's South Korea are currently second, though, on goal difference behind Jordan, and will be facing Malaysia in their final group match on Thursday. Meanwhile, as mentioned, Indonesia now finishes 3rd in Group D. They will have to wait until the first round concludes later on today to see if they go through as one of the 4 best 3rd-place teams. We will continue to keep you posted on the latest developments on the AFC Asian Cup. Meanwhile, we've got other football news, this time out of the United States, as Inter Miami celebrated its new partnership with cruise line Royal Caribbean International on Tuesday by sending Lionel Messi along with his teammates to the port of Miami, where they took part in the traditional naming of a new ship, the Icon of the Seas. Messi was the headliner at the ceremony, placing a soccer ball atop a stand to begin the traditional breaking of a champagne bottle across the bow of the ship, something that is supposed to bring good luck to the vessel and its passengers. So Inter Miami, as you can see, is taking full advantage of the media power of stars such as Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba, and Sergio Busquets to achieve a publicity level never seen before in MLS, garnering many brand sponsorships. Despite having previously worn in preseason matches against El Salvador and Dallas FC, Inter Miami's black away jersey for the 2024 MLS season was officially unveiled at this ceremony that also saw the announcement of a new partnership with cruise line Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean will now be the title sponsor of Inter Miami's black jersey, which during past friendlies bore the logo of the team's foundation and not the MLS franchise's new commercial partner. So, goodbye to XBTO, the crypto finance company that had graced the front of Inter Miami's jersey since 2021. The new jersey has the Adidas logo on the upper left corner, Inter Miami's club logo in the upper right corner, and now the Royal Caribbean logo, which is the crown sitting on the anchor that you saw in the middle of the team's new jersey. The black kit, titled La Noche, features bright pink logos, and down the collarbone, the new black jerseys house 3 pink stripes, which stop midway through the sleeves, and when play begins, 2 sponsors that remain on the jersey will be on the sleeves that will feature Apple TV and Frock Group. Inter Miami wore the black XBTO jersey just once during the 2023 season after Messi's arrival for the regular season finale in Charlotte. The club also wore black jerseys for the first 2 preseason matches earlier this month against El Salvador and FC Dallas, where Inter Miami's foundation logo was front and center. And looking at it, it's looking pretty sharp. I'm sure we will see it plenty more times in the coming months. Let's move on now, still in the United States, from football, though, to basketball news from the NBA. Yes, what we call a derby in football happened in basketball. Kawhi Leonard had his 2nd career triple-double. James Harden had 23 points and 10 assists as the LA Clippers won over the LA Lakers 127-116, which marks their third win in a row and 11 of their last 13.
Facing a 7-game road trip, the Los Angeles Clippers added to their momentum of late by beating the Lakers for the first time in 3 meetings this season. Kawhi Leonard has his second career triple-double, while James Harden had 23 points and 10 assists. Leonard had 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists, including 3 key ones in the fourth, when the Clippers were clinging to a narrow lead. The team had 33 assists. D'Angelo Russell led the Lakers with 27 points and 10 assists, and Anthony Davis had 26 points and 12 rebounds, with LeBron James watching from the bench. James is injured with left ankle pain. The Clippers didn't have big man Ivica Zubac, who is out for at least a month with right calf strain. There was a comical moment when Russell Westbrook couldn't fit his right shoes during game time. He would give up wearing it and proceeded to hit a three-pointer in the first quarter.
You know, something's going right when you lose a shoe and you still hit your shot. The LA Clippers offense was clicking on all cylinders against the Lakers. It felt like the team was incapable at times of missing a shot, as you could see. And as it turns out, the Clippers actually made history throughout the night. According to Stat Mamba, Kawhi Leonard and James Harden has become the first pair of teammates in Clipper history to each put up 20 points and 10 assists. Kawhi, as mentioned, had a triple-double, 25 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, but he also had 2 steals and 1 block on 69% shooting. It was only the second triple-double of his career and an incredibly efficient one at that. Meanwhile, James Harden, with his 23 and 10, also added 2 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block on 47% shooting. The Clippers have been playing great basketball, winning 20 of their last 24 games, and the play of Paul George is also a big reason why. Despite re-aggravating a previous groin injury, George has been playing at a very high level all season long. He's averaging 23.5 points per game on great efficiency. Remaining available has been the biggest story for both George and teammate Kawhi Leonard, as both players have been in the lineup almost every game for the Clippers this season. Finally, rounding up for the Big Four, the Clippers is Russell Westbrook, who set history in his own way. Russell Westbrook is playing in his 1,136th career game, which ties Detlef Schrempf for 65th on the NBA's all-time regular season games played list. Following Schrempf, the next player for Westbrook to pass will be Danny Shays at 1,138. Westbrook came into this game with averages of 11.2 points, 5.9 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 1.1 steals per game, while shooting 46.5% from the field and 28.4% from three-point range across 41 games. The Clippers, as mentioned, have gotten off to an excellent start to the season. They're sitting 4th place in the Western Conference with a record of 27-14 across their first 41 games. And that wraps up our sports update for now. We'll have a recap for you later on before the end of our show. In the meantime, the C Morning Show will step away for another short break. But when we return, Marissa and Indra will be back to share with you our first batch of daily entertainment news. Stay tuned.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depotsi.
Ya, aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh. Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mas.
Pemain.
A group of volunteers operating in south of the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Their existence
is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
The beauty and the excitement of being there, indescribable to lose such an iconic, historical, and magnificent.
Let's take a look around, shall we?
Come on in.
We found them.
Where people come and go. A cup of tea, a perfect way to end your day. Come see the beauty, only on See Indonesia.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
Handball karena masih baru, tadi kita harus bisa juga mempopulerkan ini kepada masyarakat sampai ke bawah.
We do it from scratch at the time because we don't know ice hockey, how to play, how to develop, how to manage this sport.
You don't have to be good with your foot. Like, you can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
For some entertainment news, right, Indra?
Yes, that is.
Well, we're going to start from the world of music, especially for you who love Bon Jovi back in the 80s. So, Thank You, Good Night, the Bon Jovi story. This is an upcoming documentary, by the way, chronicling the legendary career of rock band Bon Jovi that is set to premiere when? April the 26th.
The docu-series will cover those high as well as the lows points and public moments of frictions in the band. Let's take a look.
The fourth part of Chopra's Religions of Sports is due to premiere on Hulu in the United States of America and will stream on Disney Plus throughout the rest of the world as per the press release. The announcement comes on the 40th anniversary of the release of Bon Jovi's self-titled first album, which peaked at the number 43 on the Billboard 200 chart. Thank You, Good Night, the Bon Jovi story will also mark the first time that a docu-series on the band will feature every member of Bon Jovi's illustrious career, including former and current members. This docu-series will also include 4 decades worth of personal footage from members of the band, and never-before-seen photos, and also never-before-told stories.
Da-da-da. I know,
Favorite
right?
song?
Yeah, I know.
Is it Always?
Always, yeah. Oh, so good.
I was
good.
actually hoping to get a place. A Shot to Your Heart.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's a fun one too, right?
I'm not gonna sing it because I'm just gonna butcher it, and I'm sorry. One of my college close friends,
Right.
he's one of the biggest fan of Bon Jovi. Like back in the days, again, just like 20 years ago.
I know.
The ticket was like $125, which is like back then ticket was around like we're still looking at around like 50 to 75.
Wow.
And like I remember like Bon Jovi was performing in Chicago for like 125, and he went, and we're like.
Of course.
Wow.
I mean, I would do the same thing if I saw, for example, I don't know, the late Frank Sinatra or something. I know it's impossible, but you know, I would pay like big money for Frank Sinatra. Absolutely.
I wonder who I will pay that much.
Right?
If it's still alive, Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that one too. That one too.
This next singer, Billie Eilish, is nominated for a Best Original Song at this year's 96 Academy Awards with her song, What Was I Made For?
Yes, you remember this song? This song, if you watch Barbie, yes, this song is actually the soundtrack of Barbie. And this is the second Oscar nomination for Billie Eilish, who previously won the same category in 2022 for the title track of the James Bond film No Time to Die. She wrote What Was I Made For, of course, with her brother, Phineas O'Connell, and has also been nominated for Record of the Year and Song of the Year at the Grammys.
If Eilish wins, she will join an elite group of composers who have won multiple Academy Awards for the Best Original Song, a list that includes Elton John, Randy Newman, Tim Rice, and Giorgio Moroder.
Eilish also took to her Instagram, of course, to share a statement thanking all those involved and also expressing her gratitude.
The winners of the Oscar will be announced on March the 10th. The ceremony will take place at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood. I think it's called TLC Theater now? No? Is it Dolby?
Well, you would know.
With Jimmy Kimmel as the host.
You lived in that part of the area before. I mean, let's talk about the elephant in the room, though, Indra. Right?
Are we still talking about the nomination?
Yes, we are still talking about the nomination, especially considering that Billie Eilish is nominated and Barbie is also nominated as Best Picture.
Yeah.
What happened to Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie? No, we could not find their names there.
No, not on the list.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, which is like, okay, again, best actress. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that, but if you have the best picture and the director's not nominated, it's kind of like, well, how do you consider that the best picture?
Exactly.
Like, it's not because of the editing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, well, even best editor, I mean, was not nominated as well. And you know, another snub for me is Leonardo DiCaprio from Killing of the Flower Moons.
Yes.
Because I think that was one of his best performance throughout his career. I was like, what? What? Leo's not on the list? What? Anyway.
I still remember yesterday, you're still questioning me because I was shocked when I was looking at the list. I was like, he's really not on it. But I doubted myself, like maybe I was wrong. But then I
You
looked
checked
at
this morning.
Again.
Exactly. Devastation of the year. Anyway, I mean, it's like, I'm only me, right? I mean, the person who's devastated is actually Leonardo.
2024, come on.
Oh, yeah, I know. Anyways, still talking about music, a recording sensation Ray has made history by securing 7 Brit Awards nominations and setting a new record for the most nominations received by an individual artist in a single year.
The acclaimed British musician who is celebrated for her hit song Escapism is now vying to win all 7 titles in this year's award ceremony.
The 26-year-old is now a leading figure for female artists and women in general, as she's been nominated in multiple categories, including Artist of the Year, MasterCard Album of the Year, Best New Artist, Pop Act, R&B Act, and 2 other nominations in Song of the Year.
Oh, that's a lot of nominations. Meanwhile, Dua Lipa has been announced as the inaugural performer for the award ceremony in March, while also vying for 3 awards.
Furthermore, stiff competition marks the Artist of the Year as Burna Boy, Kylie Minogue, Lana Del Rey, Olivia Rodrigo, Ja, and Taylor Swift are going against each other. Rodrigo, Miley Cyrus, and Ja are all competing for the International Song of the Year award.
Mark your calendars as the highly anticipated British Phonographic Industry's annual Popular Music Awards unfold at the O2 Arena in London on the 2nd of March.
Yes, what you're watching is one of Ray's video clip, and I actually got introduced to Ray's work at the end during New Year's Eve.
Oh.
Because I was in the UK.
Oh.
And then I was waiting until midnight, and then there's this yearly New Year's Eve TV show in the UK. I forgot the name, apologies. But she was performing, and I thought, wow, she's got such stage presence. And she reminded me of Amy Winehouse, but with a bit of pop.
Interesting. Now I'll have to check it out. You know what? The name that I was it caught my eyes is Kylie Minogue. Like I didn't realize she's still making music.
Of course. What are you saying? Andrew?
My Spotify. She's not on my Spotify list.
Well, she better be. She better be today.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. Now, next one, the production house Damn I Love Indonesia, in collaboration with Adia Picture, officially released the poster and trailer for Glenn Fredly, the movie, in Jakarta on Wednesday.
Wow, yes. The film will narrates the life journey of the legendary Indonesian musician. The film will depict his career in the music industry and also explore aspects of his love life.
Mau foto juga?
Mas, maaf. Mas siapa ya?
The film Glenn Fredly, the movie, released its official poster and trailer ahead of the cinema screening on Wednesday evening. The poster features 4 women in Glenn Fredly's life journey, introduced against a purple background. Actor Martino Leo, portraying the legendary figure, is seen pointing the stars with the words love, music, and family. The philosophy behind these 3 words depicts Glenn's strength in his career, which was influenced by the presence of 4 women in his life. Teaming up with director Lukman Sardi, producer Daniel Mananta explained that the story of these 4 women has received approval from Glenn Fredly's family and wife. Daniel hopes that the film can reconnect the memories of Glenn Fredly's fans with their idol following his passing in 2020.
Masih izin yang bersangkutan dan again cerita ini adalah cerita di mana Bung Glenn akhirnya menciptakan lagu-lagu hitsnya yang kita semua tahu karena ya patah hatinya karena urusan cintanya gitu. Jadi ini yang kenapa yang terlibat di sini adalah seperti Nola, Dewi dan juga Mutia Ayu di sini. Apakah karakter mereka sesuai dengan benang merah yang sedang kita ceritakan? Nah, I think kita lebih mementingkan cerita dan abis itu ada beberapa bagian-bagian karakter dari Mutia Ayu, dari Dewi, dari Nola yang untungnya masuk ke dalam si cerita film ini.
Meanwhile, Glenn Fredly's wife Mutia Ayu hopes that the film can provide a deeper introduction to the persona of Glenn Fredly, or Gewa Atlana Shamayim Latui Hamalo, their only daughter. She also hopes that Gewa could get to know Glenn as he was only 2 months old when the legend passed away due to illness.
Kemarin aku mikir gimana ya Gewa mengenal sosok ayahnya. Hanya mungkin dari fotonya, video klipnya, lagu-lagunya. Tapi sekarang Gewa udah bisa mengenal sosok ayahnya dari film Glenn Fredly ini.
The Glenn Fredly the movie stars Martino Leo, Zulfa Maharani, Sonia Alisa, Alisa Abidin, Bucek Dep, and Ruth Sahanaya. C2D contributor reporting from Jakarta.
Oh yes, indeed. Glenn Fredly Latui Hamalo is one of Indonesia's best singer and also songwriter. He was also producing films actually starting from 10 years ago, Cahaya dari Timur.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. So he's a true artist, and it is such a shame because he died at a very young age. He was only 44. Because of meningitis, only 2 months after his daughter's birth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very sad. I mean, a lot to look forward to.
Absolutely.
We have Glenn Fredly, Bon Jovi earlier, and all this movie and docu-series to look forward. Well, with that, let's take another short break, and after the break, I will be back for some updates from the world of business. Stay here.
Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depot sih.
Ya
Aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh.
Aduh ya Allah. Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mas.
Pemain.
A group of volunteers operating in the south of the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
Alright guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine.
Mount Anak Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking that to meet the needs of a 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. You can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on this map. I'm horrible, I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulis.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
Hey, welcome to the C Today Business. Various international climate and scientific agency officially declared that 2023 is the hottest year ever recorded. A recent study by The Lancet attempts to calculate the impact of heat on the economy and draw a startling conclusion. Let's take a look.
In early January 2024, the World Meteorological Organization, or WMO, officially declared that 2023 is the hottest year on record. According to the WMO, the average global temperature in 2023 was 1.45 degrees Celsius warmer than the pre-industrial temperatures. The latest announcements, which combines measurements from 6 different data sets drawn from the United States, United Kingdom, Japan, and European climate agencies, found that 2023 ranked as the warmest year in all 6 data sets.
Our report on climate showed that we are close to 1.5 above pre-industrial levels in 2023. And the science, and it's not just an opinion, and that is something I want to build on. We are building on science, tells us that during El Niño years, we have more possibilities to have a warmer year. So we expect to be close or above the 1.5 degrees. So I think that what the atmosphere is telling us is that the trend is there, and we should really be worried about this trend. That is what the atmosphere and the data is telling us. For the global society, we must take action.
While 2023 is already the hottest year on record, the WMO predicts that 2024 will be even warmer, as global temperatures often rise after the peak of El Niño. Record-breaking heat will be accompanied by enormous socio-economic impacts. A recent study published by The Lancet, one of the world's leading sources of health and clinical research, attempts to calculate the impact that excessive heat can have on the economy. The study found that excess heat exposure has limited global labor productivity, resulting in a loss of 490 billion hours of potential labor hours in 2022, an increase of 42% from the annual average recorded between 1991 and 2000. The loss of potential labor hours has also caused global GDP to shrink by $863 billion, with 81% of potential income losses generally felt by the most vulnerable and least protected agricultural workers in low-income countries. The study reckons that by 2022, excess heat exposures has caused GDP in Africa to shrink by 4.1%, and in Southeast Asia by nearly 5%. The study estimates that without any further adaptation and mitigation, potential labor hours will be 2 to 5 times higher between 2041 and 2060.
Our odds right now for 2024, we're saying there's about a 1 in 3 chance that 2024 will be warmer than 2023. And we think there's a 99% chance that 2024 will land in the top 5. We're pretty comfortable with that. And this is barring something like a major volcanic eruption or an asteroid slamming into the planet. We don't want either of those to happen. We don't really want it to be the warmest year on record either. But, you know, that's where things are looking right now.
This is my house. This is the ash, the remains of my house. But, yeah, the fire knocked out the whole neighborhood.
Economic losses due to extreme events increased by 23% from 2010 to 2014 and from 2018 to 2022. Meanwhile, climate-related disasters caused economic losses of more than $264 billion in 2022 alone. Rising temperatures will not only make some places more dangerous to work in, but it could also increase the number of people who are too sick to work, and thus impose additional costs on society to care for them.
The streaming giant Netflix announced an exclusive streaming deal with TKO Group Holdings to stream World Wrestling Entertainment flagship show WWE Raw on Tuesday. The deal, valued at over $5 billion, signifies Netflix venture into live streaming and sports entertainment.
In an unprecedented move into weekly live sports entertainment, starting January 2025, Netflix will become the exclusive streaming platform for WWE Raw. TKO Holdings, WWE's parent company, stated in the release that the long-term partnership grants Netflix exclusive streaming rights for WWE Raw in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Latin America, and other regions. The partnership also provides Netflix access to all WWE shows and specials outside the US, along with award-winning documentaries, original series, and upcoming projects with WWE. This 10-year deal with TKO Holdings marks Netflix's latest foray into live streaming and sports entertainment. Netflix has previously struck successful deals with Liberty Media for its Formula One documentary series, Drive to Survive, and with the PGA Tour for its Full Swing documentary series in golf. Netflix's recent partnership with TKO comes after TKO Holdings welcomed Dwayne Johnson, or The Rock, to its board of directors, causing a 21% jump into TKO Holdings stock in early trading on Tuesday. During Netflix Q4 2023 earnings call, CEO Theodore Asarandas stated that the partnership with the WWE aligns with Netflix's core business of sports storytelling.
But I'm going to say instead that we are thrilled to bring this WWE live programming to our members around the world. WWE Raw is sports entertainment, which is right in the sweet spot of our sports business, which is the drama of sport. Think of this as 52 weeks of live programming every year. It feeds our desire to expand our live event programming. But most importantly, fans love it. So, and in terms of building on it, you should think about Formula One as like this is almost the inverse of Formula One, which is a very big and passionate U.S. fan base and a lot of room to grow outside of the U.S. And we could build that as we have with Formula One and other sports, like through our shoulder programming, like Drive to Survive, like Full Swing, like Breakpoint, like Quarterbacks, like Tour de France. And now with this great storytelling, with the events itself are the storytelling of the WWE.
Following crackdowns on password sharing and the introduction of ad-tier subscription in late 2022, Netflix recorded a surge in revenues, reaching $8.8 billion, a 12.5% increase from 2022, and added 13.1 million new subscribers in Q4 2023.
It looks like Netflix very serious about streaming. I mean, and yet beside WWE, as mentioned before, they're already working with F1 and they're also working with the tennis player Nadal and Alcaraz. They're gonna have a live Netflix slams coming up on April, and then it's not bad for Netflix too. Their shares jumped 11% due to a quarterly report for the fourth quarter of 2023 with the mentioned earlier password crackdown, and they added about 13.1 million subscribers, which is a huge jump, and which put them at 260 million paid subscribers right now, and then they facing out their lowest tier of the ad-free with subscription. So it looks like it's gonna be a good year for Netflix coming up in 2024. It looks like people coming back and start watching, and then with all the competitions, it looks like they find a way to move on from what they had already used to, and then they already started the gaming section on that one, and now the live streaming is gonna be something new for Netflix. Moving on to another story, as farmers from various quarters of Europe persisted in their protests against the agricultural policy of the bloc on Tuesday, the European Union Agriculture Commissioner has pledged to attentively heed the concern voiced by the farmers. This assurance follows a gathering of agriculture ministers from the EU's 27 member states met in Brussels on Tuesday as they prepare for upcoming discussion with farmers' organization for later on Thursday.
In recent years, the EU has seen waves of farmer protests, with most recent have seen huge demonstrations across Germany, France, Poland, and Romania. The protests came as farmers struggle with rising production costs and tighter environmental regulations that farmers say are too costly. This has forced many farmers across Europe to take to the streets in protest, with some even blaming Brussels for the crisis. In response to this, on Thursday, the European Commission is expected to begin talks with various farmers' groups, agribusiness firms, and NGOs to address the anger expressed by farmers.
We are hearing very carefully farmers' voice, and I can declare that we will take into account this voice in our work, especially for the future common agricultural policy. I say during today's debate that we need the approach based on the forest principle: security, stability, sustainability, and solidarity. And it should be included into the future common agricultural policy. The food security should be at the first position as a main function of agriculture. We should to avoid regulations which are in collision with the food security. stability for the farmers. We need to clear decision about the future of maybe not the common agricultural policy as a whole, because it is policy based on in the treaty, but we need to decision about the future financing of the common agricultural policy to strengthen the budget. I'm happy that many representatives of member states, ministers, presented this opinion that we need stronger budget for the common agricultural policy. We need stronger instrument to support farmers in the crisis situation. I was satisfied to hear this opinion, and this is also the farmer voice.
While the grievances expressed by farmers across Europe vary in nature, recent calls to decarbonize the agricultural sector have led to tighter environmental regulations. This has been exacerbated by rising energy and fertilizer prices, which have increased production costs.
Wir sind hier, weil wir demonstrieren wollen gegen die Steuererhöhungen, ja, gegen die ungerechten Steuern, aber auch demonstrieren wollen für ein Umsteuern in der Agrarpolitik, so wie das in den letzten 5, 6, 7 Jahren gelaufen ist, also auch durchaus schon vor der Ampel, kann es nicht weitergehen. Wir brauchen eine Politik, die den bäuerlichen Berufsstand wieder in der Mitte der Gesellschaft platziert, die eine Existenzberechtigung unseres Berufsstandes anerkennt.
The same sentiment is also shared by the Ireland's Agricultural Minister, Charlie McConalogue, who urged more sympathy for the European farmers.
A really important point here is respecting and recognising the work that farmers are doing. It doesn't get enough airtime or enough recognition in the wider debate. We've seen lots of policy development and policy change over the last 2, 3, 4 years, and sometimes it can seem to farmers that they're constantly under pressure and that their role is constantly being up for discussion and indeed often being criticised, whereas instead what we should be doing is actually respecting the massively important work that they're doing. And I think if we can turn the dial on that and put that much more to the forefront, and that's why I very much welcome the emphasis the Belgian presidency is putting on the importance of food security.
The latest waves of demonstration have also led to a rise in far-right groups and comes at a critical time as the EU will hold its parliamentary election later this June.
Let's take another short break, and after the break, we will still have updates from around the world.
All right, guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine.
Mount Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking that to meet the needs of the 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. Like, you can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on this map. I'm horrible. I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulis.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depotsi.
Ya aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik ya.
Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Maris.
Pemain
in South the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Asian flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. I personally love this, not just because it is familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different when baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, man, a special place for restaurant.
You are back with us on the C Morning Show. We are going to wrap up some of the stories making headlines around the world. The first one, the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres addressed the Security Council during a high-level meeting Tuesday. He said no effective humanitarian aid operation can function under the conditions imposed on the Palestinians in Gaza. The quantity of aid is highly insufficient to meet their needs.
The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres urged all parties to step back from the brink and to consider the horrendous human cost of a regional conflict. Guterres stressed that beyond the need for immediate de-escalation, each situation requires the implementation of a clear political roadmap that would contribute to long-term regional stability.
Meanwhile, French Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné, who presided the meeting of the EU Security Council, said that there must be a Palestinian state. He added that violence towards the Palestinian people, particularly committed by extremist settlers, must end and that international law applies to everyone.
Effective humanitarian aid operation can function under the conditions that have been forced on Palestinians in Gaza and those doing everything possible to help them. The quantity of aid is highly insufficient in light of needs. It is fantasy to think that 2.2 million people can survive on aid alone. Basic commodities from the private sector must enter in meaningful quantities, as they did for many years before the current fighting. This is essential to address rising needs and avert both a complete breakdown and ever-mounting death toll. I urge all parties to step back from the brink and to consider the horrendous human cost of a regional conflict. Beyond the need for immediate de-escalation, each situation demands the implementation of a clear political roadmap that would contribute to long-term regional stability.
Je dois dire à Israël, qui connaît l'amitié du peuple français, qu'il faut un État palestinien. Que les violences envers le peuple palestinien, notamment celles des colons extrémistes, doivent cesser et que le droit international s'impose à tous. Je dois dire aux représentants palestiniens qui connaissent l'engagement historique de la France en faveur d'un État palestinien que nous continuerons à lutter contre le terrorisme avec fermeté et détermination, qu'il ne peut y avoir d'ambiguïté sur le droit d'Israël à vivre en paix et en sécurité et à exercer son droit à la légitime défense face au terrorisme.
Meanwhile, the Indonesian Foreign Affairs Ministry spokesperson has recently confirmed that Indonesian Foreign Affairs Minister Retno Marsudi did not leave the room during the speech that was delivered by Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan at the United Nations Security Council meeting.
Yes, according to a clarification by the Indonesian permanent mission to the UN, Ambassador Gilad Erdan was not present in the room, while Indonesia and a number of member states of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC, were expressing their positions on the Israeli-Palestinian crisis open debate. Conversely, Indonesia and the OIC member states were not present in the room when Ambassador Gilad Erdan commenced his speech.
A video broadcast by Western media showing numerous diplomats, including Indonesian Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi, who were protesting against Israel's action in Gaza, walking out of the UN Security Council meeting as Israeli Ambassador Gilad Erdan began his speech on January 23rd.
The UN Security Council comprises of 10 member countries, with 5 of them holding permanent membership and veto power, capable of overturning any resolution attempted by the Security Council. The 5 countries with veto rights are the United States, Great Britain, France, Russia, and China.
At least 5 were killed when an Israeli strike hit a mosque in Rafah, South Gaza, Wednesday.
The dead and injured were taken to a nearby hospital, the Abu Yusuf al-Najjar Hospital, in order to be counted.
AP footage shows the extent of the destruction as buildings were partially demolished or completely flattened. Another footage shows the chaotic aftermath in the hospital where people rushed to carry the dead and wounded. One such individual who were caught up in the chaos after surviving the attack was Muhammad Lafi.
According to the Hamas-run health ministry, Israeli strikes have killed over 25,700 Palestinians in Gaza. Turkish.
أنا كنا في الدار قاعدين المسجد جنب الدار مباشرة ضربوا المسجد من غير لا سابق انذار أي حاجة ولا شيء ما لقينا إلا الحجار فوق رؤوسنا كله حجار ورا بعض الدار كلها انهدت فوق راسنا هاي مرت وابني اللي قبل شوي غرزوا فيه قاعدين أولادي جوا كلهم مصابين مكسرين.
Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan met his Iranian counterpart Ebrahim Raisi Wednesday, and Erdogan highlighted the necessity of ending Israel's inhumane attacks on Gaza.
Turkey and Iran also agree about the importance of taking urgent steps for the establishment of a just and lasting peace.
During the visit, both leaders observed the signing of 10 cooperation agreements. Erdogan said that Turkey will continue to support Iran's fight against terrorism and boost cooperation against the PKK, or the Kurdistan Workers' Party. Turkey considers the group as terrorists with a string of bases in northern Iraq. Furthermore, Turkey also considers Syrian-based Kurdish groups such as the YPG and PYD as PKK affiliates.
İran'la yıllık 30 milyon. Görüşmelerimizde İsrail'in Gazze'ye yönelik insanlık dışı saldırılarının bir an önce son bulması, adil ve kalıcı barışın tesisine yönelik ivedi adımlar atılması ihtiyacını ele aldık. Türkiye'nin terörle mücadelede İran'ın yanında olduğunu tekrar ifade etmek istiyorum. Komşumuz İran'la ilişkilerimizi karşılıklı güven ve müşterek menfaatler temelinde derinleştirmeye önem veriyoruz. Görüşmelerimizde bu iradeyi bir kez daha teyit ettik.
Lebanese caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati met with Italy's top diplomat on Wednesday to discuss the situation in the Middle East and tension along the Lebanon-Israel border.
Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani arrived in Beirut earlier in the day on an official visit, during which he will visit Italian peacekeepers deployed along the southern Lebanon near the border with Israel.
While the clashes had previously been limited mainly to a narrow strip within a few kilometers from the border, Israel in recent weeks appears to have moved to a strategy of targeted killings of figures from Hezbollah and allied groups, sometimes hitting in areas relatively far from the border.
With the danger of a regional conflict flaring on multiple fronts, officials from the United States and Europe have engaged in a flurry of shuttle diplomacy in recent weeks between Israel and Lebanon, attempting to head off an escalation of the conflict into a full-on war on the Lebanese front.
Tajani's visit comes a day after Spanish Foreign Minister Jose Manuel met with Lebanese officials in Beirut.
The supreme leader of Iran once again urged Muslim countries to cut political and economic ties with Israel.
Ayatollah Ali Khamenei criticized Muslim leaders on Tuesday. He deemed that they continue to demand a ceasefire while having no control over the issue.
Khamenei said Muslim countries should cut off vital supplies to Israel and stop the delivery of food and fuel to the country. He has been making the call to do so following the Israeli campaign against Hamas after Hamas attacked Israel in October, leading to 1,200 casualties and around 250 hostages.
Israel's assault in Gaza is one of the deadliest and most destructive military campaigns in recent history. According to Gaza health authorities, Israeli forces have killed nearly 25,000 Palestinians and displaced over 80% of the territory's 2.3 million residents.
اعلان میکنن که باید آتش‌بس انجام بگیره. خب آتش‌بس دست شما که نیست. آتش‌بس دست اون خبیثه، دست اون دشمنه. نمیکنه. شما میشینید چیزی رو تصویب میکنید که در اختیار شما نیست. چیزهایی هست که در اختیار شماست، اونا رو تصویب نمیکنید. اون چیه؟ قطع شریان‌های حیاتی به رژیم صهیونیستی. این در اختیار شماست. میتونید شما کمک نکنید، پشتیبانی نکنید، ارتباط سیاسی و اقتصادی رو قطع کنید.
Spanish Foreign Minister Jose Manuel Alvarez called for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip on Tuesday. Alvarez, who was speaking to the media after a meeting with Lebanon's caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati in Beirut, also called for the release of all hostages.
Alvarez, who will be visiting Egypt in his trip, said that Spain believes a peace plan must include the recognition and establishment of a realistic and viable Palestinian state with Gaza and the West Bank under a single authority.
Meanwhile, Israel's army announced earlier on Tuesday that 21 of its soldiers were killed in the deadliest militant attack on Israeli troops. Combat casualties could add to mounting calls for a ceasefire and criticism of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's handling of the war.
Un alto el fuego inmediato y permanente y pedimos la liberación inmediata e incondicional de todos los rehenes. Como saben, la Conferencia Internacional de Paz es una propuesta española y, por lo tanto, seremos un país activo en el desarrollo del plan de paz que presentó ayer el alto representante de la Unión Europea, Josep Borrell, al finalizar la reunión del Consejo de Asuntos Exteriores. El reconocimiento y el establecimiento de un Estado palestino realista y viable, que tenga a Gaza y a Cisjordania bajo una única autoridad, con una continuidad territorial, con un corredor que las conecte, con una salida al mar y un puerto en Gaza y con su capital en Jerusalén.
All right, in other news, a fire broke out in a commercial building in China's southeastern Jiangxi province on Wednesday, killing at least 39 people and injuring 9 others.
Officials for the Yushui district in Jiangxi province said the fire broke out in a basement of a shopping area in the afternoon. In addition to rescue workers, firefighters, and police, local government officials were deployed to the scene.
State broadcaster CCTV later reported that rescue operations were complete and that no people had remained trapped in the building, which it said housed an internet cafe in the basement and tutoring centers on the upper floors.
Chinese President Xi Jinping issued a statement about the blaze, noting that it was yet another safety tragedy. He called on the government and Communist Party to, quote, resolutely curb the frequent occurrence of various safety accidents and ensure the safety of people's lives and property and overall social stability.
And elsewhere in the world, a truck carrying 60 tons of liquefied natural gas and a car collided at an intersection in the Mongolian capital early on Wednesday, causing a massive fireball and a series of explosions that has taken the lives of 3 firefighters and injuring 11 others.
Images show the huge blaze at the scene of the crash outside of a shopping center close to an apartment building and an international school in Ulaanbaatar.
The 12-story apartment building caught fire, with firefighters working until early morning to extinguish the flames. Mongolia's Emergency Management Office said that a total of 3 explosions occurred after the crash, the last of which killed the 3 firefighters.
The authority expressed condolences to the firefighters' families in a Facebook post. 10 people were taken to a hospital to be treated for burns, and another was being treated at a poison center. That wraps up some of our updates from around the world. We have more updates coming up after this next short break, this time out of the region of Southeast Asia. Stay tuned.
The beauty and the excitement of being there.
Indescribable to lose such an iconic, historical, and magnificent.
Let's take a look around, shall we? Come on in. We found them.
Where people come and go. A cup of tea, a perfect way to end your day. Come see the beauty, only on Indonesia.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. Like, you can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I love this atmosphere. Woo! Heading to Gili Trawangan. And this special episode, I already prepared myself for an adventure on the island, which in the top of the list to visit. And this is the travel note because life is dope.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
All right, guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine. Mount Anak Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking that to meet the needs of the 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on this map. I'm horrible, I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulisnya.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
You're back with us on the C Morning Show. We'll bring you what's making headlines across Southeast Asia. Paul.
Thanks, Marissa. We begin in Vietnam, where the country welcomes German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier in Hanoi on January the 23rd. He was accompanied by his spouse, Parliamentary Secretary Michael Kellner, several ministers, as well as executives from 12 major companies. Upon arrival at the Noi Bai Airport, Steinmeier was escorted to meet his host, President Vo Van Thuong. The two leaders then discussed various topics, including energy, trade, and industry. The dialogue was also attended by Vietnamese Deputy Trade and Industry Minister Nguyen Sin Nhat Thanh. The highlight of the meeting was the European Union-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement. which allows for improved market access for both sides. Furthermore, President Tuong brought up the admission and education of high-quality human resources in German universities, as well as the removal of the yellow card that the EU placed on Vietnamese seafood products.
From the Philippines, the country's Senate has summoned televangelist, preacher, and spiritual advisor to former President Duterte, Pastor Apollo Carreon Quiboloy, for alleged sexual abuse and human trafficking. The Senate Committee on Women and Children held a public hearing on Tuesday after Senator Ana Teresia Hontiveros had urged an investigation for alleged abuse that took place at the King of Jesus Christ Church, known as KOJC. Meanwhile, Quiboloy chose to be represented by a lawyer, despite receiving the option to defend himself. This prompted Senator Hontiveros to issue a subpoena to accelerate the hearing. The panel also presented a witness with the alias Amanda, who is a former KOJC member. She claimed that Quiboloy abused her when she was only 16 years old and tasked other minors to perform sexual acts.
Lastly, from Malaysia, where Tourism Malaysia expects higher number of visitors from Brunei with a 10.6% increase this year. Furthermore, Malaysia Brunei Tourism Director Hasrina Asman said they are aiming to explore more collaborative opportunities to keep boosting the tourism sector. She also said that 929,789 visitors arrived in the country from Brunei in 2019. Meanwhile, Malaysian High Commissioner to Brunei Darussalam Dato' Raja Reza bin Raja Said Shah emphasized the importance of creative collaborations, agency engagement, and stakeholder contribution in promoting Malaysian tourism.
Now we go to Thailand. Thailand's Constitutional Court ruled on Wednesday that popular politician Pita Limjaroenrat did not violate the election law and can retain his seat in the parliament. He was blocked from becoming prime minister, although his party placed first in the last year's election.
Pita had been suspended from parliament pending the court ruling on whether he violated the law by owning shares in a media company.
Pita Limjaroenrat was the executor of his father's estate, which includes stock in ITV, a company that is the inactive operator of a defunct independent television station. Meanwhile, the court agreed with Pita's contention that ITV was not an operator of a media business. Political candidates are prohibited by law from owning shares in any media company when they register to contest an election.
I feel all right. I feel regular, like any other working day. In my mind right now is about the next steps of the kind of work that needs to be done. So we're asking the parliament when I'm allowed to be back in. So there's a discrepancy between two organizations, which is the Constitutional Court and the parliament. And whenever I'm allowed in, I'll be there.
รู้สึกว่ายังมีความเป็นธรรมให้กับประชาชนบ้างค่ะเพราะว่าเราหวังว่าศาลการเมืองเนี่ยมันแบบว่าไม่ค่อยไว้ใจ 50-50 แต่ตอนนี้เราดูรู้สึกว่ามันแบบว่าอะไรอ่ะเป็นยังแฟร์บ้างอ่ะ
And in other news, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said on Wednesday that China appreciates that the Philippines has reaffirmed its commitment to the One China policy.
While on Tuesday, Philippine President Marcos Jr. reiterated in an interview that the Philippines is committed to the One China policy and that has not changed and will not change.
Yes, what is the One China policy? So the Philippines does not endorse Taiwan independence since Taiwan is a province of China and the matter they will be brought together again is China's internal affair. To comment on the remarks of President Marcos Jr., Wang said China appreciates this reaffirmation of the commitment to One China policy.
我们赞赏菲方重申坚持一个中国政策，强调台湾是中国的一个省，
菲律宾不支持台独。台湾是中国领土不可分割的一部分，中国实现完全统一是人心所向、大势所趋，任何台独行径都注定失败。
Okay, we're going to take another short break. When we come back, very excited because we are going to talk about this book and discuss this book with the author, Henry Manampiring. The book is titled The Compass. This is a kind of philosophy, arete, that will be discussed after the break.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku deportasi.
Ya aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh. Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mas.
Pemain.
Group of volunteers operating in the south of the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
The beauty and the excitement of being there.
Indescribable through such an iconic, historical, and magnificent.
Let's take a look around, shall we? Come on in. We found them.
Where people come and go. A cup of tea, a perfect way to end your day. Come see the beauty, only on See Indonesia.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
Handball karena masih baru, tadi kita harus bisa juga mempopulerkan ini kepada masyarakat sampai ke bawah.
We do it from scratch at the time because we don't know ice hockey, how to play, how to develop, how to manage this sport.
You don't have to be good with your foot. You can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, just a quick one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the C Morning Show. It's 10 to 8 in the a.m. and time for one of our favorite segments, which is Book Talk. So, first up, Marissa.
Yes.
You're always reading at least one or two books at any given time. What are you currently into?
I'm currently into this, actually. I read this about 8 years ago, but I'm rereading it again.
Okay.
This is by the psychotherapist, the UK psychotherapist, Philippa Perry. I think this is her first book, if I'm not mistaken, How to Stay Sane. So with How to Stay Sane, basically there are 3 things that she discussed, which are self-observation or knowing yourself, and then how you relate to others and how you see stress. So
okay, very relevant.
Yeah,
I suppose, in
and
today's
it's
world.
super thin.
Yeah,
right? It's super
probably
thin.
get through that by lunch.
Exactly. And what about you?
I recently just got this from our lovely colleague, Shafira. She gave me a birthday present, and this is Magic. This is the story of Magic Johnson, legendary basketball player.
Wow.
Very well known, actually, with his for his battle against HIV.
Yes.
But not many know about what happened afterwards, which is he built his huge business empire.
Yes,
and he really uplifted black communities across America by doing so. He created black-owned businesses in black neighborhoods because there was a market there that was untapped, and he was able to provide better lives for those within the community. So I saw a 3-episode documentary on Apple TV, They Call Me Magic.
Right.
And then the timing was perfect. After I finished that, I got this little lovely birthday present. So I just started it. So can't wait to get into that.
Yes, and also, of course, you know, it's like before we go to our guest recommendation, we would like to discuss this wonderful book, again by Henry Manampiring. I know Henry Manampiring for a long time, actually the first time through Twitter, but then...
Before it was X.
That was a long time ago, now X. Now this is his latest book, and the previous book was Filosofi Teras, another interesting philosophical take. So welcome to our studio, Henry.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. So the compass.
Yeah.
What do you want to discuss in the compass?
I mean, as the title implies, right? What do you use the compass for, right? It's usually to find your bearing, to know where to go next. So that's somehow how I envision this book to be. It's supposed to help readers to make decision. Yeah, in everyday decision, how to make better decision that help builds their character.
Right. So if in Filosofi Teras you focus on Stoicism,
correct.
This time in the compass you focus on arete.
Yeah.
What is arete?
So arete is a Greek word, and usually it translates to English as virtue. Right, everybody has heard of the word virtue. But the thing about the word virtue is you associate it with, a virtuous person means someone who is doing good stuff.
Yes.
Right? But unfortunately, it doesn't capture the complete meaning of arete in its Greek form. Because arete is better translated into excellence. Excellence.
That's also broad, right? Excellence is like...
Broad and also different from just being a good person. And I think it's just interesting because for the ancient Greek, it's more than just striving to be a good person. You want to strive to become an excellent person. Now, excellent is also broad. And hence, the 4 dimension or the 4 cardinal virtues or arete that is depicted on the cover.
Okay,
right.
Yeah. Could you actually break them down? Because there are 4 very important parts of this particular philosophy.
Yeah. So, these 4 ladies represent what is called as the cardinal virtues or the cardinal arete.
Right.
So what the philosopher is trying to say is, if you want to become an excellent person, try to become better in these 4 dimensions. Those 4 are wisdom.
This one, wisdom.
Yeah. The green one is wisdom. The second one is courage. The third one is justice, become a just person. And the last one is moderation or self-temperance.
Self-temperance.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, and by the way, gonna give there's illustrations in there, not only in the cover but inside. Would you like to mention who?
Oh yeah.
Who created these lovely illustrations?
I love it because it's so Indonesian as well.
Yes. So I'm very happy that the publisher found a great illustrator who lives in Bantul, Yogyakarta. His name is Ajon Anggoro.
Yes.
You gotta check him out. He's a comic artist. And the reason I just fell in love when I saw his sample of illustration is it reminds me of my childhood comic book.
Yes.
Very retro comic book. And I thought when I saw it, I want him. He has to do the illustration for my book.
Yeah, despite, you know, we're talking about Greek philosophy, but of course we have to Indonesianize it, right?
That's right.
Now, I want you to now translate all these 4 cardinals or the principles in arete, right? So you mentioned wisdom, courage, justice, and also temperance. So break it down for us. What would be like the concrete situation and the concrete actions where we can apply all these 4 principles? First, probably wisdom. Let's imagine a situation, and then how do we apply wisdom for us to be able to reach arete?
So, interestingly, these 4 cannot be seen in isolation.
Yes,
so it's
it has
not like
to be the 4 of them.
Correct, it has to be applied together. But naturally, there will be situations where it calls for 1 or 2 arete more than the other, right?
Yes.
So it can be as simple as speaking out.
Speaking out.
Speaking out in a situation you want to call out something that is wrong, right? So you may lack confidence, like, I'm too afraid to speak up, right? This is not my culture. But at the same time, the wisdom will say, somebody has to speak out, right? To point out that, hey, there's a wrongdoing here.
Right.
Then you need courage, right? But at the same time, when you deliver it, you want to restrain yourself. You want to respect the other people, because it's very easy for you to, go overboard.
Lash
and
out.
then yelling, lashing out. So that violates temperance, but at the same time, justice. Because justice is the only arete that relates to other people's rights. So you respect the other people's rights. So you see, a simple situation can call on these four to make better decision, how to behave.
And how will applying this for, because you relate this to ultimately happiness.
Correct. Yeah.
So how would you apply this on a day-to-day basis?
How do you train yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we humans, we're so reactive sometimes.
And it takes a lot of discipline to actually think about this in every situation. Sometimes when you feel like speaking out, you speak out. And then later on, you'll retrospectively think, oh,
you'll regret it.
Should have, held back a little bit there. Right? And how will this help us ultimately achieve better happiness? And could you explain, first of all, what happiness is? Because you had a good explanation for it earlier.
Yeah, so as I studied more on the subject, right, when I was writing this book, I was pretty mind blown when I learned that all this time, what I understand as happiness was wrong.
Okay. What was your previous understanding?
I thought happiness is, I have to feel happy, I have to feel joy, cheerful, smiling all day, the common conception of happy.
Yeah.
And then turn out, the ancient wise men have a completely different understanding of happiness. And again, it goes back to the root word. So happiness for the ancient Greek, they use the word eudaimonia. And very interesting, eudaimonia doesn't mean feeling. Eudaimonia actually means a good spirit.
A good spirit.
Yeah, so someone with a good quality. And then it just changed my perception, because if you pursue happiness as feeling happy, there are many things you can do to achieve that. And not all of them are good, right? Not all of them are good for you. I mean,
all kinds of addiction, probably can you can reach happiness, but it's an addiction.
Yeah. I can enjoy junk food. It gives me a boost of happiness, but is it good for me, right? I can do all other negative stuff that temporarily makes me happy, but may not be good for me in the long run. So they say that's not happiness. Happiness is build your character.
Happiness is build your character. What do you mean by that?
Have an excellent character.
Right.
Which leads to eudaimonia. Build character means also a good spirit.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So the happiness is a byproduct. So I like the fitness analogy, right? Between weight loss and being fit. Sometimes people go after the ideal weight.
Yeah, like I want to look good.
Yeah. But that's probably not the right pursuit. You should pursue health first.
Yes.
Right? And then the ideal weight comes as a byproduct. I think
that's correct.
Three of us know this more than...
And I completely understand, because my understanding of fitness was like your previous understanding of happiness, where I was constantly trying to make sure I look the best in the mirror, and then I'm at that ideal weight, and I do my body composition. I'm like, all the numbers are fine, but then it didn't necessarily prevent me from certain illnesses, or it didn't prevent me from having, say, high cholesterol. But then when I decided to go for my overall health, which is the target of long-lasting life. Like, how am I going to prolong my life so I can live longer for my family, for those that I love around me? And then suddenly, I felt better on the inside, and I started to look better without me trying so hard to look better. That was the byproduct, if you will.
Yeah, that's correct. So I guess through this book, we could start changing or shifting our understanding of happiness, that happiness is not a goal, but it is actually a byproduct or a bonus, because we've done a lot of the actions and steps the right action or the right steps, so that we, in the end, as a result, feel happy, right?
Can I add one more thing? I believe that you'll only start knowing how that feels once you start doing it.
Correct.
Because if somebody was just telling me, I'd say, I don't get it. But then once I started doing it, I started like, oh, this was what it's supposed to be like.
So let's talk about training then.
Yes.
How does one train to do all this and really incorporate these principles into their lives or our lives? Hello.
It's it's almost like the question, how can I run the marathon?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you need training, right?
The only answer is you gotta run.
Yeah.
You know, and then gradually.
A little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is no magic answer to that. I think a lot of people who read self-improvement wants the shortcut.
Right.
Yes.
Right? Give
Life
me the
hacks.
shortcut. Life hack.
Like once I finish this, I'm immediately going to be a happy.
Woo!
Yeah, I'm going to be a great character already.
Bad news to those people out there. There is no hack. There is no shortcut.
Yeah.
And leads me back to the word character, actually. I mean, I mentioned character in the beginning, right? So character in English actually comes from the Greek word also, karasein. And very interesting because karasein means carving or engraving. And it gives you a clue immediately to how you build a good character.
Yeah.
Painting is one stroke, right? But engraving, carving takes several acts. So that means you gotta do it consistently. You gotta do it in repetition, in every day. There is no shortcut. There is no overnight hack like that.
So what do you personally do, Henry, to make sure that you apply all this? Like, for example, right? What I do, not exactly relating to the philosophy of Arete yet, but for example, I used to be relatively reactive, right? You know, there is no gap between impulse, between provocation and reaction, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then what I started doing is that I started meditating. You see, it's something, what is the action that we can do to start building the muscles so we can implement the philosophy of Arete in our lives in the hope that we will feel contented or happy or fulfilled, you know.
So Aristotle, whose work this book is based upon, considered wisdom as the leading arete. So he said that everything starts from wisdom.
Yeah.
And in everyday practical manner, I think wisdom is to have self-debate.
Self-debate?
Yeah, so you refer to meditation. For me, it's self-debate.
Nice.
We don't practice self-debate often. Okay?
What do you mean by self-debate?
You question yourself.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
If you feel
argue
something,
yourself.
you argue it.
Yeah. So usually you feel reactive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody cross you on the street and then you feel anger.
Road rage.
Or just people talk to you not in a right manner, you feel upset.
Yeah.
That's exactly the time to give a pause and then debate yourself. Have that 5-10 second moment to question yourself.
What do you say to yourself when you debate yourself?
So, do you have enough evidence to feel this way? Is there a different explanation to this person's behavior? Is there just another way to look at it? Just giving that pause kind of stop your train of thought before go overboard and then you get dragged into your emotion. At least you have that self-dialogue. It may or may not help you, but at least give you time to calm down a little bit.
If you still want to get angry after that, then it's more justified. I want to touch on a couple of things that within the book itself. You interviewed several people.
Oh yeah.
They were actually quite inspirational figures. One of them was a friend of the station here as well, Psycho G, Igor, Adi Sarwono, as well as Sabda PS. Why did you choose them in particular to be included in your book?
So I think philosophy is already a difficult matter to talk about. So I want to make it less theoretical and then kind of link it to everyday Indonesian, real stories to help ground the thinking. And I pick interesting figures that I thought can exemplify the concept of this arete. Like I interviewed Psycho G because I noticed on his social media that he's now very serious in transforming his lifestyle to become healthier. And I thought, well, that can illustrate moderation or self-temperance, right? And true enough, when I talked to him, he has great insight about overeating, right? So apparently he found that overeating is very psychological. It's not so much about the hunger or physical hunger. It's about emotional emptiness and right. So you take care of that, and then the body will respond accordingly.
So I guess in the basic, or would you agree or disagree, the foundation that one must have in order to implement these principles is self-knowledge first. Because in the case of Psycho-G, for example, you know, it's like the fact that he used to be obese and he knew that he was unhealthy. And then instead of just saying, oh, you know, I like having good food, he actually took the time to self-debate, to ask himself, like, what is it going on, Psycho-G, inside? Is it because you have some kind of emptiness that you're trying to fill? You feel good whenever you eat, but actually the problem is still there?
Yeah.
So self-knowledge would be the foundation for someone to be able to successfully apply these principles.
Hence wisdom.
Hence wisdom.
Wisdom is not about knowing so many things in this life, knowing the latest theory.
Right.
Wisdom, first and foremost, should be directed towards yourself. So, have you ever heard of the oracle? The concept of oracle
what's that?
in the ancient Greek? So, oracle is like a temple that people come to find, you know, what's my future like?
Oh,
you know?
right.
It's almost like, exactly. That's where it comes from, right? So oracle there is a temple of the oracle, and at the top of the entrance there's a two-word saying, "Know thyself."
Know thyself.
That's it. That's the oracle motto.
Yeah.
First,
That was
know
Socrates,
yourself.
right?
Correct, and then it was popularized by Socrates. So.
Know thyself. Know thyself.
All right, so I would like to know if this is completely, fully attainable. Like, we talk about happiness as no longer a feeling anymore, but it's something that is becoming this character that you strive to become.
Yeah.
And you have to do so over repetition. And in the word arete itself, you describe as excellence. And excellence is somewhat close to perfection, and we know that perfection is unattainable.
Yeah.
So, you know, throughout writing this book and your journey learning all of this, is this something that is attainable for everyone, or those that at least try their best to attain it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you refer to attainable as a fixed state, right, that somebody has to attain, I don't think that's the case. Okay. I mean, like, can I run full marathon? For example, 20 kilometers. It won't be attainable for all people, let's admit it, right?
Yeah.
But if you refer to it as process, is the process attainable, the continuous improvement? Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone is welcome to this journey. And I don't think there is a finish line until you die, until you die.
Yeah.
So every day, little progress you make, that's enough. That's enough, yeah.
All right, and I suppose I mean, you just get better at it. Like, you no longer have to meditate to get yourself through those situations anymore, because you already know how to reach that state.
Because I do a lot of self-debate now.
There you go.
I question myself. Every time I feel something, I'm like, where does this feeling come from? Do you think it's because of A, B, or C? And I don't have to make the decision. Sometimes I'll just let it be.
Yeah.
You know? Less pressure.
Perfect.
But we would like to hear your book recommendation,
Yes,
Henry.
we had a book
Sorry, I shocked you.
Book recommendation,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I'd like to know what you're reading.
I've seen this one, yeah.
I finished this already
Exciting.
last year. Range by David Epstein. Yeah, how generalists triumph in a specialized world.
Okay.
So it has a very interesting premise.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us were brought up thinking that, oh, you gotta stick to one.
You gotta be a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah, yes. Stick to one skill. You know, put the hours. Make sure that you are good at something more than anyone else.
Well, Malcolm Gladwell popularized that idea, 10,000 hours, right?
Hours, right?
Ooh, people went crazy for it.
You put in 10,000 hours into something and you become master at it.
Yeah.
Now, there is nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
But it's not the only way to be successful. And even Epstein argued that in this increasingly complex and interconnected life, it's the generalists who have the upper hand. Because the world is changing so fast, and we connect in different diverse of discipline and skill connect so fast that people who are stuck in his only field of expertise may not be flexible enough to adapt or to evolve.
May face irrelevance as well, right?
So actually, he introduced the concept of it's good to be broad. The jack of all trades, master of none, right? It is usually said
in a negative way.
That's such a bad rap, right? Yeah.
But no, actually, you may need to be jack.
Or Jane.
Or Jane. Have a go at many things.
Yeah.
Fail at different things. Because together it gives you the agility. So like you, Marisa, I mean, you are former actress or you're still acting, I don't know, but you are actress, you are anchor, you're former DJ. Maybe
still DJ.
Those things, still DJing. So those things may not be related to what you are currently doing at the moment, but actually they are helping. They are really complementary. So very recommended for parents, especially for parents, if you have your kid, expose your child
to as much
to as many things, and then later he can specialize.
Let them decide.
Let them decide, but expose them first to many diverse things. Very good for teacher and educator as well, and hopefully for policy maker. Somebody in the government may need to read this as well.
Thank you so much.
That is a great recommendation. I'm going to take a picture of it.
Fantastic. I will too. There you go. Oh my gosh.
Henry, thank you so much. That was I can't wait to get to this, obviously, after I get through this giant one first. But there you go, guys. Available now in bookstores?
Yeah.
Compass, Filosofi Arete untuk Bahagia Sejati. Henry Manampiring, make sure you guys look out for this one.
Yes, exactly. Will there be an English version as well real soon?
I haven't decided.
You haven't decided. All right, there you go. You would have to learn Indonesian, by the way, to get access to this book. Thank you so much, Henry.
Thank you,
Success
Marisa.
to you. And also, we are going for a short break. When we come back, we'll still have lots more for you. Wow, what an insightful talk show. Thank you so much, Henry.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depot sih.
Ya aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh.
Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Maris.
Pemain.
Group of volunteers operating in the south of the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol, menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
All right, guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine.
Mount Anak Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking that to meet the needs of the 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on this map. I'm horrible, I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulis.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
About you that makes me indulge in the company of your own kind.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. You can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hey, 17 past the 8 here in the studio, and you're still watching C2C Morning Show. And if you're planning a natural holiday activity, we have a recommendation from Poso, Central Sulawesi, where there's a national park in a city called Lorelindu, where you can enjoy trekking alongside a lake and find various attractions.
Take a listen to this chirping sound. This is the first street you'll encounter at the beginning of the trekking trail in Lorelindu National Park in Poso, Central Sulawesi. As you continue along the 3-kilometer route, you'll come across the sounds of endemic birds. Lorelindu National Park is home to various wildlife which is endemic to Sulawesi. If you are lucky, you might spot the world's smallest primate, the tarsius. Unfortunately, I wasn't that lucky that day. However, along the trekking route, I could still enjoy the breathtaking view of Lake Lindu. A wooden bridge allowed me to capture the best views.
Selain kita dapat wisata danaunya yang sudah terkenal, itu juga ada trekking. Terus juga soal jarak kan lebih dekat gitu ya dari Palu. Jadi menurut saya recommended lah untuk teman-teman yang mencari liburan gitu, mengisi liburan sekaligus berolahraga ringan lah.
Trekking in Lorelindu National Park also offers adventurous experience. But there's no need to worry, because the park management prioritizes visitors' safety. During your trek, you may come across mushrooms and a spiked trunk that requires extra caution. To learn more about the objects on site, visitors can scan QR codes, making the experience of learning about biodiversity much more immersive as you observe these creatures in their natural habitat. See Today contributor, reporting from Poso, Central Sulawesi.
All right, let's take a break. After a break, we have more updates just for you. Stay with us.
All right, guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine.
Mount Anak Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking debt to meet the needs of the 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. You can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick. Point to Manado on the smack. I'm horrible. I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulis.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
About you that makes me indulge in the company of your own kind.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. Hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku depotsi.
Ya aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik loh.
Aduh ya Allah. Baru kali ini.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mars.
Pemain.
A group of volunteers operating in the south of the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Asian flavors is gaining more popularity around the world in the last decade. Personally love this, not just because it's familiar for our palate, but because the airiness, the textures of the youtiao, it's completely different when baguette. So with those appetites and with those pleasure-driven people, Menteng is a very special place for restaurant.
Back with us on the Same Morning Show. Social media activists and other member of communities in Medan, North Sumatra teamed up to clean up the Medan Zoo recently. They also donated some amount of money for the staff members working at the zoo and also, of course, the animals, following the case of the death of the 3 tigers, unmaintained animal cage, and unpaid staff salaries.
Hundreds of social media activists and several communities from Medan gathered at Medan Zoo in Deli Serdang Regency, North Sumatra. They team up to clean up the zoo in response to the conditions of Medan Zoo that has been neglected. They prepared equipment and started to clean up the area of the zoo one by one, such as cutting grass, cleaning up public facilities and animal cages that were covered with overgrown grass.
Kita sebenarnya prihatin sih Bang gitu, karena kan terakhir kunjung ke sini itu kan sebelum Covid tuh gitu kan. Setelah kita baru kunjungan lagi setelah Covid ini, kita lihat udah sepi pengunjung, terus banyak yang nggak keurus gitu kan. Jadi kayak kita prihatin lah, pengen ini tuh aktif lagi gitu. Sementara dari Pemko sendiri ini akan ditutup gitu. Semoga kita sebagai anak muda lebih antusias dalam kegiatan seperti ini, karena kalau nggak kita anak muda yang mulai merawat ini semua siapa lagi gitu, siapa yang peduli gitu.
Not only that, the activists donated to help the Medan Zoo financially. They managed to collect 82 million rupiahs. The donation was handed over to the Medan Zoo to help the employees and animal needs.
Yang paling menggugah hati teman-teman dari influencer Medan ini, sebenarnya kegiatan ini saya udah bolak-balik bilang kita sudah mau laksanakan dari awal tahun, bahkan akhir tahun ya di Desember kita udah mau, ketika kita mendengarkan ada kabar dari media yang kondisi Medan Zoo ini sudah sangat-sangat menyedihkan, bahkan ada kabar satwa yang mati. Kita juga rajin ngelihat akun Instagramnya Wildlife Sumatera ya, itu kita lihat sepertinya kayaknya kita butuh bergerak nih. Kita menunda bergerak gara-gara kita berpikir udah viral. Ketika udah viral ya berarti mungkin harusnya ada tindakan. Tapi ketika akhir tahun itu di Januari masih belum ada, akhirnya kita memutuskan tergugah semuanya. Kita ini tergabung dalam sebuah grup namanya Influencer Medan Support, yang dalam kontennya itu memang kita adalah saling support untuk bersama-sama. Dan akhirnya kita memutuskan bersama-sama untuk coba visit dulu. Ketika melihat situasinya ternyata cukup parah, akhirnya kita putuskan kita bergerak.
In the future, the social media activists hope that the Medan Zoo can revive after its revitalization. They also hope that the zoo will not forget its original role in protecting the animals. See Today contributor reporting from Medan, North Sumatra.
The Indonesian Foundation Planet Urgency, along with local residents, recently collaborated to plant tens of thousands of mangrove trees in Pandeglang Regency, Banten. This was done to prevent abrasion and also to mitigate tsunami along the coastline.
The Regency of Pandeglang was affected by a tsunami that claims hundreds of lives in 2018. In order to anticipate such a disaster from taking place again, the Indonesian Planet Urgency Foundation worked with local residents to plant mangrove trees along the shoreline of Ciseket village in Panimbang Subdistrict, Pandeglang, Banten. Aside from mitigating tsunami, the mangrove trees were also planted to combat abrasion and the marine ecosystem.
Nah, di desa Ciseket ini kami melakukan penanaman tahun 2022 sekitar 60.000. Ini kalau tanamannya sudah berumur hampir 1 tahun dan survival rate-nya sekitar 68%. Fungsi mangrove itu bagi masyarakat terutama selain dia juga melindungi area pesisir dari tsunami dan abrasi, dia juga merupakan tempat hidup bagi hewan-hewan laut seperti bayi-bayi ikan, bayi-bayi udang, dan juga yang lainnya. Sehingga fungsinya bukan hanya proteksi masyarakat, dan juga penting bagi kehidupan masyarakat lokal. Dari sisi global, mangrove ini sangat penting bagi perubahan iklim.
Volunteers from the Indonesian Planet Urgency Foundation are planning to plant 116,000 mangrove trees across the Pandeglang shoreline. C2D contributor reporting from Pandeglang, Banten.
Now we're going to have a quick look on the updates regarding the upcoming Indonesian general elections on Indonesia Votes 2024. On his campaign trail, indeed, Vice Presidential candidate Gibran Rakabuming Raka visited Al-Kafi Somolango Islamic Boarding School in Kebumen, Central Java on Wednesday. And within that opportunity, Gibran said that he and presidential candidate Prabowo Subianto have a program to improve the welfare of Islamic boarding schools and also the welfare of the students. Vice presidential candidate Gibran said that santris or religious students are generally adept in reciting the Quran and have good morals. Gibran, however, wants santris to be more than that. They can also be and should be or should master the Sharia economy, Sharia banking, technology development, and cybersecurity. Gibran also said that Indonesia currently has a demographic bonus, and that means there's a lot of young people in their productive age in Indonesia, and thus Gibran invites families of pesantren or religious schools to make the most of this opportunity to help Indonesia reach the golden era in 2045.
Jadi ya, ke depan itu santri-santri benar-benar bisa menghadapi tantangan zaman dan benar-benar bisa memenuhi kebutuhan industri. Jadi pintar ngaji, berakhlak baik, tapi juga benar-benar nanti bisa menjadi bagian untuk menuju Indonesia emas.
Also on his campaign trail, Indonesian Vice Presidential candidate number 3, Mahfud MD, announced his plan to resign from the cabinet during a discussion Tabrak Prof that was held in Semarang, Central Java, Tuesday. Mahfud said that he was still waiting for the right timing to step down from his position as coordinating minister for political, legal, and security affairs. Meanwhile, presidential candidate Ganjar Pranowo also commented on Mahfud's resignation as minister during his political campaign in Kendal, Central Java.
Itulah yang sejak awal kita bicara apakah seorang yang sekarang menjabat di dalam jabatan publik, apalagi selevel menteri itu mundur atau tidak. Gubernur, bupati, wali kota mundur atau tidak. Semua di jabatan publik. Ketika keputusannya tidak dan diperbolehkan, maka ada potensi konflik of interest. Kami berdiskusi juga dengan Pak Mahfud pada soal ini. Itu ada potensinya loh, gitu. Kita mesti hati-hati. Mampu nggak kita menjaga diri kita untuk bisa netral dan tidak menggunakan fasilitas, itu aja. Nah, dengan beberapa kejadian, orang menggunakan fasilitas, menggunakan alat transportasi, alasannya kunjungan kerja, tapi di sana kampanye, kan rakyat bisa melihat itu. Maka kita sedang mengambil risiko itu. Maka saya sarankan, mundurlah. Rubahlah aturan. Gitu. Termasuk Pak Mahfud. Termasuk Pak Mahfud. Jadi kita udah diskusi dengan Pak beliau pada soal-soal ini. Agar fair, lebih baik mundurlah. Kalau aturannya mau dibuat, lebih bagus. Pasti rakyat akan lebih senang. Karena nanti tidak ada yang mengklaim apakah ini bansosnya milik kementerian, apakah berasnya itu milik kementerian, kan nggak bisa lagi. Semua orang akan merasa fair.
Yes, meanwhile, presidential candidate number 1 Anies Baswedan and his running mate Muhaimin Iskandar so far or yesterday had no campaign agenda. On to our next story, still on the election, hundreds of campaign materials of legislative candidates which have violated regulations have been removed by the election supervisory agency in Ternate, North Maluku. The campaign materials were deemed endangering pedestrians and vehicle users.
The Election Supervisory Agency or Bawaslu personnel took down campaign materials of legislative candidates from various political parties that were placed in an unauthorized area on Wednesday. The props were placed on sidewalks, utility poles, and a number of trees on the roadside. These campaign materials were considered to endanger road users such as pedestrians and vehicles. The crackdown took place simultaneously with Bawaslu focusing on the city's main road. This was done after political parties and legislative candidates ignored Bawaslu's warning to take down the campaign materials themselves that were installed in unauthorized areas. Bawaslu will coordinate with related agencies to curb the political props throughout Ternate. Meanwhile, on the same day, campaign materials along Jalan Margonda Raya in Depok, West Java, were taken down by a joint personnel, namely Bawaslu and the Depok Public Order Agency. The curbing of the campaign materials was done due to violation and endangering road users.
Terkait dengan APK, tentu tindakan yang paling dari kami adalah menertibkan kembali. Tentu himbauan terus kita lakukan kepada peserta pemilu untuk tidak melakukan pelanggaran pemasangan APK. Yang pertama tentu yang membahayakan, alat peraga kampanye membahayakan. Yang kedua yang melanggar aturan kampanye kita, yakni sepanjang jalan Margonda.
Kalau untuk bendera partai apakah akan ditertibkan?
Bendera partai itu masuk dalam kategori bukan APK.
The Depok Bawaslu will also curb campaign materials in a number of protocol roads in Depok, such as Jalan Raya Arif Rahman Hakim and Jalan Raya Juanda. See Today contributor reporting from North Maluku and West Java.
It's time for a break. When we come back, we'll bring you the updates from the world of sports with my colleague Pop Lele. We'll be right back.
The beauty and the excitement of being there.
Indescribable to lose such an iconic, historical, and magnificent.
Let's take a look around, shall we? Come on in. We found them.
Where people come and go.
A cup of tea, a perfect way to end your day. Come see the beauty, only on See Indonesia.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
You don't have to be good with your foot. Like, you can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Oh, I love this atmosphere. Woo! Heading to Gili Trawangan. And this special episode, I already prepared myself for an adventure on the island, which in the top of the list to visit. And this is the travel note because life is dope.
Is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
All right, guys, let's get into our first update for today.
Meanwhile, a plume of smoke was seen billowing in the distance from Rafah in the Gaza Strip on Saturday, marking the 11th week of humanitarian crisis in Palestine.
Mount Anak Krakatau continues to erupt, spewing volcanic materials up to 300 meters high.
Sri Mulyani Indrawati said that Indonesia has minimized taking that to meet the needs of the 2023 state budget until the end of the year.
Hey there, buddies! Welcome back to another episode of Buddy Talk.
Enggak, dia hostnya, kita co-hostnya. Kita co-host.
It's better to be overdressed than underdressed. That's actually a good hack, because I used to live in Canada. That was our trick.
Point to Manado on this map. I'm horrible, I told you I'm bad.
Dikira dengan banyaknya informasi itu kan jadi makin gampang gitu nulis.
Iya.
Tapi ternyata susah banget.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the C Morning Show. It is 20 to 9 in the AM and time for a quick sports recap, beginning with some badminton updates. Jessita Putri Miantoro and Feby Setianingrum are advancing to the round of 16 at the Indonesian Masters after defeating their compatriots Dwi Puji Kusuma and Amalia Cahaya Pratiwi 21-18, 21-13 at the Senayan Sports Complex in Jakarta on Tuesday. Miantoro and Setianingrum, who are currently ranked 43rd in the world, have advanced to the round of 16 to face Danish pair Maiken Fruergaard and Sarah Tigson. The Scandinavian pair defeated their Chinese Taipei counterparts Chang Ching Hui and Yang Ching Tun to earn a spot in the top 16. Meanwhile, two other Indonesian men's doubles pairs also have secured their spots in the round of 16. Muhammad Shohibul Fikri and Bagas Maulana are on to the next round after defeating Chinese shuttlers Chen Boyang and Liu Yi 21-16, 17-21, and 21-17. And in addition, Sabar Karyaman Gutama and Mohammad Reza Pahlavi Isfahani defeated South Korean pair Kim Won-ho and Na Sung-seung 13-21, 21-19, and 21-16 in the rubber game. Moving on to other badminton updates football updates from the AFC Asian Cup. Japan defeated Indonesia 3-1 in their final Asian Cup Group D game on Wednesday to guarantee themselves a top 2 finish and also qualify for the last 16. Meanwhile, Iraq went to the top of the group with maximum points as they sealed a 3-2 victory over Vietnam with a 102nd minute winner. Japan's Ayase Ueda scored twice for Hajime Moriyasu's side, who finished with second place with 6 points. Japan had taken a 1-0 lead through a penalty by Ueda in the 2nd minute of the match. They eventually doubled their lead when Ueda was found unmarked at the far post for an easy tap-in. This goal put a spring in Japan's step, and Ueda was able to force an own goal in the 88th minute after Justin Hubner attempted to block his shot. Indonesia was able to score a consolation goal in stoppage time from Sandy Walsh, where he finished smartly for his first international goal. And with the 4 best performing third-place teams also advancing to the round of 16, Indonesia are currently headed for a maiden appearance, yet they will only be able to breathe easy come the end of Thursday. Groups E and F will conclude, and as things stand, the Indonesians are in a precarious position in 4th spot in the 3rd-place team rankings. And as long as both groups do not produce a 3rd-placed side with a superior record, Indonesia will be through, and that in itself will be an achievement. In other football news, Inter Miami has celebrated its new partnership with cruise line Royal Caribbean International on Tuesday by sending Lionel Messi and his teammates to the port of Miami, where they took part in the traditional naming of a new ship, the Icon of the Seas. Messi was the headliner at the ceremony, placing a soccer ball atop a stand to start the traditional breaking of a champagne bottle against the bow of the ship. something that is supposed to bring good luck to the vessel and its passengers. Now, you may have seen the Icon of the Seas making its round on social media. It spans nearly 1,200 feet. It has 20 decks, which makes the Icon of the Seas the world's largest cruise ship. It's a city at sea and can accommodate 7,600 passengers in 2,805 staterooms and nearly 10,000 people, including the crew. The ship offers different experiences, including 7 pools. One is the largest on any ship, the world's first onboard water park with 6 water slides. It has theaters, a casino, and over 40 dining and drinking spots. Now, luxury does come at a price. A week-long Caribbean cruise costs approximately $3,500 for 2 people in an average stateroom. And for those that want more luxury, the ultimate family townhouse, a 3-story suite complete with touchscreen tables and a slide, can go up to $100,000 per trip. And the Royal Loft, aiming at the high-rolling adults, offers 2 bedrooms, a private hot tub, and a spacious balcony, and that starts at about $40,000. Now, many people are questioning the sustainability of such a large cruise ship, but the Icon also champions environmental responsibility. It is powered by liquefied natural gas, treats its own waste, and also produces its own water. And definitely, you can mark another one down for the Icon of the Seas, which is the main sponsorship for Inter Miami. And keeping in the United States, from football, we shift to some basketball news from the NBA as Kawhi Leonard has marked his 2nd career triple-double. James Harden added double-double of 23 points and 10 assists as the LA Clippers won 127-116 on Tuesday night, and they have now won 3 games in a row and 11 of their last 13.
Facing a 7-game road trip, the Los Angeles Clippers added to their momentum of late by beating the Lakers for the first time in 3 meetings this season. Kawhi Leonard has his 2nd career triple-double, while James Harden had 23 points and 10 assists. Leonard had 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists, including 3 key ones in the 4th, when the Clippers were clinging to a narrow lead. The team had 33 assists. D'Angelo Russell led the Lakers with 27 points and 10 assists, and Anthony Davis had 26 points and 12 rebounds, with LeBron James watching from the bench. James is injured with left ankle pain. The Clippers didn't have big man Ivica Zubac, who is out for at least a month with right calf strain. There was a comical moment when Russell Westbrook couldn't fit his right shoe during game time. He would give up wearing it and proceeded to hit a 3-pointer in the first quarter.
All right, that wraps up our sports recap. We're going to take one final break here on the program, but stick around. We've got more entertainment news coming up next.
Berangkat aja dulu, kerjakan apa yang ada di depan kalian. Setidaknya kalian hari ini walaupun tidak mendapatkan uang, tapi kalian mendapatkan kesempatan.
Walaupun di awal-awal itu banyak sekali rintangan dan tantangan.
Kalian berproses aja dulu, jalan aja dulu. Kalau udah waktunya kalian untuk dapetin uang akan datang nyamperin kalian. hal yang paling sangat utama untuk mengawali bisnis, ridho dan restu orang tua. Itu hal dan modal paling besar dalam mengawali usaha.
Ke Binjai mau migrasi.
Cakep.
Anjay, aku deportasi.
Ya aku cuma mau bilang hari ini kamu tuh cantik ya. Aduh ya Allah.
Oke lah kalau penampilan dia nggak sebaik itu, nggak sebagus itu, nggak seganteng itu, tapi itu hatinya dia sebaik itu dan tidak ada orang yang pernah gue temuin hatinya sebaik Mas.
Pemain.
Group of volunteers operating in the south of the city has united to assist displaced children in a refugee camp in Rafah in overcoming the trauma of war. The volunteers come from diverse professional backgrounds and share expertise in working with young people.
Their existence is now being critically endangered.
Dia memiliki ekor yang sangat panjang, jauh lebih panjang daripada badannya sendiri.
Tekniknya dia keluar dia itu bergelombol menggunakan punggung temannya untuk naik.
Sebenarnya konservasi burung hantu di sini latar belakangnya jelas asas manfaat. Jadi kita pengen melestarikan burung, melestarikan satwa, tapi juga otomatis dampaknya ke masyarakat yang khususnya sekarang kalau di sini kan petani.
The beauty and the excitement of being there.
Indescribable to lose such an iconic, historical, and magnificent.
Let's take a look around, shall we? Come on in. We found them.
Where people come and go. A cup of tea, a perfect way to end your day. Come see the beauty only on See Indonesia.
Welcome back to Spotlight, ladies and gentlemen, where we bring you guys some of the sports that you guys can go play here in Indonesia.
Handball karena masih baru, tadi kita harus bisa juga mempopulerkan ini kepada masyarakat sampai ke bawah.
We do it from scratch at the time because we don't know ice hockey, how to play, how to develop, how to manage this sport.
You don't have to be good with your foot. You can just dribble the ball and just throw it to the full ball.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you, good night. The Bon Jovi story. No, I wasn't having a concert. It's actually the title of the upcoming documentary chronicling the legendary career of the rock band Bon Jovi. And it is set to premiere on April 26th. Thank you, good night.
The docu-series will cover those highs and well as low points and the public moments of frictions in the band. Let's take a look.
The four-part docu-series directed by Gautam Chopra's Religions of Sports is due to premiere on Hulu in the United States of America and will stream on Disney Plus throughout the rest of the world as per the press release. The announcement comes on the 40th anniversary of the release of Bon Jovi's self-titled first album, which peaked at the number 43 on the Billboard 200 chart. Thank you, good night. The Bon Jovi story will also mark the first time that a docu-series on the band will feature every member of Bon Jovi's illustrious career, including former and current members. This docu-series will also include 4 decades worth of personal footage from members of the band, and never-before-seen photos, and also never-before-told stories.
thought would make. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
I would love to see it as well.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe "Living on a Prayer" would be a better title for it, or perhaps I don't know, "Blaze of Glory."
Oh, Blaze of Glory. I like
Remember
that
that one?
one.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Anyway, more music news for you. As Billie Eilish is nominated for Best Original Song at this year's 96th Academy Awards with her song, "What Was I Made For?"
Yes, this is the second Oscar nomination for Eilish, who previously won in the same category in 2022 for the title track of the James Bond film No Time to Die. She wrote What Was I Made For? With her brother, Phineas O'Connell, and it's also been nominated for Record of the Year and Song of the Year at the Grammys.
If Eilish wins, well, when she wins, she will join an elite group of composers who have won multiple Academy Awards for the Best Original Song, a list that includes Elton John, Randy Newman, Tim Rice, and Giorgio Moroder.
Yes, Eilish took to her Instagram to share a statement thanking all those involved and expressing her gratitude.
The winners of the Oscar will be announced on the March 10th. The ceremony will take place at the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, California, with Jimmy Kimmel as the host.
Calling your shot, I like that. Yeah. You guys got any predictions for the main winner?
Have you seen the nominees or the number of nominees
out yet?
of Best Picture?
Is it out yet?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh, goodness.
Like, it's a lot.
Do they not have a limit? Of
No, I
That
think
one
it's
time,
about
one time they had like 11 at one
Really?
time.
I wasn't aware of this.
I think this year they have like 8 or 7.
Yeah, 8, yeah. Something like that.
They used to be like, consistent at 5.
Right,
And,
yeah.
like,
I thought there was a...
some years, I think they just like broke that. Then I like...
Oh,
Like
well,
too many good movies.
Good sign, yeah. It's a good sign, I guess. Lots of good movies out there.
Exactly. Well, still from the world of music, recording sensation Ray has made history by securing 7 Brit Awards nominations and setting a new record for the most nominations received by an individual artist in a single year.
And the acclaimed British musician, who is celebrated for her hit song Escapism, is now vying to win all 7 titles in this year's awards ceremony.
The 26-year-old is now leading figure for female artists and women in general, as she has been nominated in multiple categories, including Artist of the Year, MasterCard's Album of the Year, Best New Artist, Pop Act, R&B Act, and 2 other nominations in Song of the Year.
Meanwhile, Dua Lipa has been announced as the inaugural performer for the awards ceremony, which is happening in March, while herself also vying for 3 awards.
Yes, stiff competition marks the Artist of the Year category, as Burna Boy, Kylie Minogue, Lana Del Rey, Olivia Rodrigo, Ja, and Taylor Swift are going against each other. Rodrigo, Miley Cyrus, and Ja are all competing for the International Song of the Year award.
Mark your calendars as the highly anticipated British phonographic industry's annual Popular Music Awards unfold at the O2 Arena in London on the 2nd of March.
Yes. Moving on. The
Yep.
production house, Damn I Love Indonesia, in collaboration with Adya Pictures, officially released the poster and trailer for Glenn Fredly, the movie, in Jakarta last Wednesday.
Oh, I can't wait for this one. The film narrates the life journey of legendary musician Glenn Fredly, depicting his career in the music industry and exploring different aspects of his love life.
Foto juga?
Mas, maaf. Mas siapa ya?
The film Glenn Fredly, the movie, released its official poster and trailer ahead of the cinema screening on Wednesday evening. The poster features 4 women in Glenn Fredly's life journey, introduced against a purple background. Actor Martino Leo, portraying the legendary figure, is seen pointing the stars with the words love, music, and family. The philosophy behind these 3 words depicts Glenn's strength in his career, which was influenced by the presence of 4 women in his life. Teaming up with director Lukman Sardi, producer Daniel Mananta explained that the story of these 4 women has received approval from Glenn Fredly's family and wife. Daniel hopes that the film can reconnect the memories of Glenn Fredly's fans with their idol following his passing in 2020.
Masih izin yang bersangkutan dan again cerita ini adalah cerita di mana Bung Glenn akhirnya menciptakan lagu-lagu hitsnya yang kita semua tahu karena ya patah hatinya karena urusan cintanya gitu. Jadi ini yang kenapa yang terlibat di sini adalah seperti Nola, Dewi dan juga Mutia Ayu di sini. Apakah karakter mereka sesuai dengan benang merah yang sedang kita ceritakan? Nah, I think kita lebih mementingkan cerita dan abis itu ada beberapa bagian-bagian karakter dari Mutia Ayu, dari Dewi, dari Nola yang untungnya masuk ke dalam si cerita film ini.
Meanwhile, Glenn Fredly's wife Mutia Ayu hopes that the film can provide a deeper introduction to the persona of Glenn Fredly, or Gewa Atlana Shamayim Latui Hamalo, their only daughter. She also hopes that Gewa could get to know Glenn as he was only 2 months old when the legend passed away due to illness.
Kemarin aku mikir gimana ya Gewa mengenal sosok ayahnya. Hanya mungkin dari fotonya, video klipnya, lagu-lagunya. Tapi sekarang Gewa udah bisa mengenal sosok ayahnya dari film Glenn Fredly ini.
The Glenn Fredly the movie stars Martino Leo, Zulfa Maharani, Sonia Alisa, Alisa Abidin, Bucek Dep, and Ruth Sahanaya. C2day contributor reporting from Jakarta.
That does it for today's episode of the Indonesia Morning Show. I mean, yes, this may be the end this morning, but we are with you constantly, actually, if you follow us on our social media through Instagram, X, and our YouTube channel at C2day News.
And C2day can now be enjoyed in Australia on Foxtel's OTT platform, Flash app, or in Macau Cable TV Channel 84. And if you're in the Philippines, you can also check us out on the Converge Vision Channel 58. And as well, all our friends in Singapore, you can check us out on Singtel, Singapore Channel 15. And for Telkomsel users, perhaps?
Yes, well, Telkom users or any users, if you want to catch us, we are available on Maxstream app. With Telkomsel, you can also check up your bills and see today at my Telkomsel app. Don't forget to also tune in again on tomorrow. Same time, same channel, and be sure to also catch our afternoon show every day at 5 p.m. I'm Indra Marpaung.
I'm Paul Palelli.
I'm Marissa Anita and would like to say,
see Indonesia, see the world, see today.
Bye. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chef Raihan, and we're back to Satisfactory, Cook happy, cook healthy. Today we're gonna make creamy pesto pasta bakes. So we have the ingredients in here. We have salt, pepper, garlic, parmesan, olive oil, mozzarella cheese, basil, almond. First thing first, we're gonna boil the pasta. And then some salt. We put some almond. And then the basil. We just add some olive oil. Okay, the pesto is done, and then let's boil the pasta. Just put the pesto.